afternoon from Tempe Diablo Stadium. The Angels get ready to host the NL Central Milwaukee Brewers. Another beautiful day in the Valley. In fact, this might be the hottest day of 2016 here in the Phoenix area. Terry Smith along with Mark Kubasar. Pleasure to bring you Angels spring training baseball. Well, Mark, one thing we're hoping today is not to have a tie. We've had back-to-back 3 in the last 4 games. But as we look ahead to this ball game today, let's talk a little bit about Angels pitching, especially the Angels starting rotation where there are still some question marks.
Yeah, Terry, coming into spring training, we certainly thought that was going to be a strength, a surplus, actually. But in reality, it hasn't been the case. And, you know, I had a chance to talk to Charlie Nagy earlier today about the state of the pitching staff, and this is what he had to say.
Coming along fine. I mean, the guys that are going out there getting their innings in, getting ready for the season. A couple guys, you know, Weaves had to miss that one start, but he's been throwing the ball well, and he's pitching tomorrow. Excited about that. Excited to see where he's at.
So the guys like Richards and Santiago and Heaney, you feel pretty comfortable the way they've been throwing the ball so far then?
Yeah, they're right on schedule, each 5 innings. At that point, next time 60, 90, that's the big benchmark for the starter, making sure they get to that point close to 100 pitches before the season starts. And they'll be able to do that next time, and then they'll have one more start before the season.
Charlie, what are you looking for guys down here? Because we talked, I even talked to Socha about this. Sometimes you don't have that break on a breaking ball down here in Arizona. Baseball flies more so. Do you just look for consistency in the strike zone at this point of the year?
Yeah, consistency and just repeatability, that they're comfortable out there on the mound, the ball's coming out of their hand, they're able to throw the ball pretty much where they want to, both sides of the plate. And, the breaking ball is what it is out here in Arizona. You might not get the spin you like, or the splitter's going to hang up a little bit. You just got to kind of not try and look at results so much as the whole outing in a whole.
Tyler Skaggs is going to be throwing today, it looks like, in a simulated game. How good do you feel about him as his progression is getting closer to taking the mound against big league hitters?
Tyler's ready to go. I mean, the ball's coming out of his hand great. He's well removed from the Tommy John surgery. He's itching and antsy to go. He's excited about today and just excited about getting him into a game.
So you mentioned Weaver progressing. What about C.J. Wilson? Anything on the latest on him as far as where he's going and how he's progressing?
C.J.'s just working on some things right now, form-wise, fundamentally throwing-wise, and when he feels well enough, we're going to get him back on the mound and get him back on a regular schedule.
Yeah, we've seen some good things certainly from the bullpen. How do you feel about the arms out of the bullpen at this particular point?
They've been great. I mean, coming in, doing their jobs, getting their work in, quality outings, and just they've been awesome so far this spring.
All right, Charlie, I appreciate it, man. Thanks.
Thanks, Scooby.
That's new Angels pitching coach Charlie Nagy. Well, you talked to Charlie a little bit earlier today. We just heard that about Tyler Skaggs, and you had a chance to see him down on the lower fields today.
Yeah, Terry, I'm pretty excited about watching the way he threw the baseball today. Tyler Skaggs threw the ball exceptionally well. Good velocity on this fastball, hitting his spots, both sides of the plate. That tells me he's healthy. His breaking ball had good tilt to it, good rotation, especially on his curveball and his slider. Mixed in some change-ups, too. But you can see it in his face, Terry. He was smiling, having fun. That tells me he's 100% healthy. Now it's just about fine-tuning, hitting his spots. But a couple good pitches down there, especially when I saw him facing Choi. Fastballs in. When you have a left-handed pitcher throwing a fastball in against a left-handed batter, you got to feel real good about getting to that part of the plate. And he had good velocity on his fastball, which is a great sign for this rotation.
All right, what do you think's the next step for him later on this week?
I think you're going to see him probably pitch in a B game, minor league type game environment, and eventually be in one of the Cactus games down here in spring training. He's going to face some tough hitters eventually, but like I said, when you see that smile on his face, he knows he's ready to go out there and compete against the very best.
So the Angels today taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. I had a chance to talk to Ron Renicky. Of course, he used to be their manager. Asked him if today was a little bit special. He said, well, yeah, he didn't want to really say a whole lot, but he said there's still a lot of players on that other side that he certainly enjoyed working with over the last few seasons. It's the Angels and the Milwaukee Brewers here from Tempe. We'll have the starting lineups, the start of the game. Beautiful day for baseball here in the Valley. It's coming up next on Fox Sports West. Back at Tempe Diablo Stadium, we are getting ready for Angels baseball. Time for the starting lineups for visiting Milwaukee. Leading it off at second, Scooter Gennett. Batting second at short, Jonathan Villar. Jonathan Lucroy will DH and bat third. Aaron Hill at third base bats fourth. Ramon Flores in center hits fifth. Chris Carter at first will follow, batting sixth. Alex Presley in right bats seventh. Martin Maldonado, the catcher, bats eighth. And Eric Young in left field bats number 9. The starting pitcher for Milwaukee today, 26-year-old right-hander Willie Peralta, 6'1", 145 pounds, just 5-10 last year with an earned run average of 4.72. They're hoping for a bounce-back year from Peralta this season with Milwaukee. Time now for the Angels starting lineup, and it's brought to you by McDonald's. I'm loving it. And for the Angels today, Yunel Escobar will lead it off at third. Daniel Nava in left field bats number 2. Mike Trout at center bats number 3. Albert Pujols DHs and bats cleanup. Cole Calhoun in right hits 5th. C.J. Cron at first base bats number 6. Cliff Pennington at short bats 7th. Carlos Perez, the catcher, hits 8th. And Ray Navarro at second base will bat number 9. Doing the pitching, 34-year-old right-hander Yunieski Maya. This is the first time he started a game for the Angels this spring in 4 relief appearances, 6 scoreless innings. And he will get the start here today. The umpires, Alfonso Marquez calls balls and strikes. We'll have Dana DeMuth, Kerwin Danley, and Ron Kolpa on the bases. So we are just about ready to get the action underway. Gennett will lead it off, the Milwaukee second baseman, and the game's first pitch, that one is in there for a called strike. Terry Smith, Mark Ubisaw, and from the Sports Lodge, Roger Lodge joining us on our broadcast here today on this Saturday from Tempe. Here's the next one on Scooter Gennett. He takes that one for a strike. Roger, welcome to Angels baseball. Good to have you here in Arizona.
Guys, couldn't be more thrilled to be here. Are you amazed at what big business spring training has become, and a great reality show right now? Here are our Angels. So many unanswered questions. We're going to get some more answers today, hopefully.
There's one that's inside, and 1 and 2. Yeah, it certainly appears we have standing room only here today for Angels and Brewers.
Yeah, it's the best time of the year, especially when everyone's getting out. Spring break for all the kids and out with the entire family, just be able to watch an Angel game on a beautiful day once again here.
There's one that's blowing outside. These two teams will square off on Monday in Maryvale, the spring training home of Milwaukee. So they'll get to know each other a little bit more the next few days. And the Angels will play in Milwaukee during the regular season in May. The 2-2 on Gennett. He takes that one low, and it's 3-2. 88 degrees. They're saying today will be the warmest day of 2016 to date here in Arizona. They're expecting it to get into the low 90s today. Here's the 3-2. That's lifted in the air into left field. Backpedaling is Nava, and right near the rim of the track, he'll make the grab. Ball certainly has been carrying here in Cactus League play. Routine play, though. That's the game's first out.
Yeah, generally you see the baseball carry well here anyhow in Arizona in spring training Cactus League play. But with this warmer weather, even in normal this time of the year, it's really carrying. That wasn't even a bad pitch, but hit all the way to the warning track the other way by Gennett, a left-handed batter. Leadoff hitter going to the warning track in front of the wall. Impressive.
So here is VR. Saw him with the Astros the last few seasons, and he takes the first pitch for ball 1.
On the ball carrying here, fellas, we played a softball game on this field after the game yesterday. I hit one to deep shortstop, so that tells you how the ball is carrying here this season.
Where'd you hit it from, the mound?
Cheap shot and a beauty from Gooby right off the bat.
Surprised DC didn't have the rim shot ready on that one. 1-1 is the count here on VR, and the next pitch that's fouled back to our left, upstairs, out of play. VR is a switch hitter, 53 games for the Astros last year, hit .284, and he spent some time in AAA. He's a guy who can really run. He had 35 stolen bases in the minors last year.
Tremendous throwing arm in the infield also.
He's their shortstop today, and the pitch, and he lines that one into left field. Nava coming in, and he makes the catch. So the ball tracking out to left here. First 2 batters retired by Daniel Nava, and Jonathan Lucroy will be the next batter.
Well, Daniel Nava, we talked about how well he's swung the bat this spring, and there's no denying that, but he's played some solid defensive left field. We knew he was a good defender. Same thing with Craig Gentry. Well, they've really shown a lot as far as tracking baseballs, both going back on the baseball and coming in.
Have you guys been amazed at how many of the so-called experts are writing our halos off so early in the season? They don't have anyone to play left field, not getting a lot out of second base this season. I don't know about that, guys. I like this Angel ball club with a chip on their shoulder.
There's one that's a little bit outside. 1 ball, no strikes.
Well, Gary DiSarcina said it yesterday. He kind of likes the fact that everyone's just kind of overlooking the Angels at this point. And if the Angels, like most clubs, if you stay healthy, this team, you know, the starting 9, and I think the bench itself is going to be pretty strong. It should be a quality year, and it's all coming down to starting pitching. But if the pitchers pitch the way they can, this should be a solid season.
1 ball, 1 strike. Yeah, it's all going to boil down to the rotation, and obviously there are some issues here with a couple weeks left in Arizona. And the 1-1. That's popped in the air, shallow right field. Calhoun is not going to get to it. It'll drop away in front of him. And going the opposite way with a 2-out single will be Lucroy. So he's a base runner. Aaron Hill will be the next hitter.
Talked to Jared Weaver this morning, and you could just read the frustration in his eyes, Gooby, watching him talk about trying to get back. You know, I'm not so sure 20-5 is going to come back like he had a couple of years ago, but just to be out there on the mound competing again, you know, I think I speak on behalf of Halo Honks and Angel fans everywhere. Everyone's rooting for Jared Weaver to get back on that hill for this franchise.
Well, he'll compete no matter what. I mean, even if he doesn't have his best fastball, if he's healthy enough to go out there, there's no doubt in my mind. We talked about it earlier that, you know, he has a minor league game tomorrow, and if that comes out well, then he should be ready to go in a game on Friday here in the Cactus League play.
Here's the 1-0 on Hill, and he takes that one outside. 2 balls, no strikes. Hill came over in the deal between the D-backs and the Brewers that sent Gene Segura over to Arizona. He's now with the team he's excited to be with. Speaking of the former Angel farmhand, and the pitch, and that one is high. So Maya has fallen behind. It's now 3-0 on Aaron Hill.
Terry, you got kind of the new look Brewers here in 2016. Lynn's gone. Kyle Osha's gone. You just mentioned Segura. Second-year manager Craig Counsell, new GM, and David Stearns trying to turn things around in Milwaukee.
There's a pitch that misses, and it's a 4-pitch walk. So Hill is on. Maya got the first 2, and now the next 2 have reached base safely, and Ramon Flores, the center fielder, will be the batter.
Yeah, it's not easy to rebuild in that NL Central now, especially when you have the Cardinals, the Chicago Cubs, everyone's favorite now to get to the World Series from the National League, and Pittsburgh. Cincinnati has taken a step back themselves now in a rebuilding mode, but it's difficult to rebuild in this division. It used to be just a few years ago, you had the Cardinals running away with it, but now with the Cubs, the way they are playing the game in Pittsburgh, which is a great story in itself.
Pitch is in there for a strike, 0-1. Flores was with the Yankees briefly last year. Spent most of last year in AAA for New York. Left-handed batter, and the pitch. He chops this one right to third. It's handled cleanly by Escobar. Flips the second. They force out Hill, and the inning is over on the fielder's choice by 4 over at second. Nothing doing for Milwaukee. We go to the bottom of the first inning. There's no score on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Bottom of the first we go. No score here from Tempe. Angels getting ready to face Willie Peralta. Peralta was a 17-game winner for Milwaukee in 2014, and then last year just 5-10. Had some injury issues last season, and pitched just over 100 innings last year for Milwaukee. So he's ready to go. This is his 4th start this spring, and he's had a rough time. ERA is very high here in the Cactus League. Here is Escobar on the first pitch, driving one deep into center field. It smacks high off the wall. The ball's in play. Escobar will stop at second with a ringing double. Boy, that one was just a couple feet from leaving. That ball was crushed out the dead center, hit 420 feet. Leadoff double, and here's Nava.
Yeah, we were talking about it. What's the odds that he's swinging at the first pitch? We were like, okay, he's going to swing at the first pitch. It's a matter of how hard he's going to hit the baseball. Well, that's your answer. Off the 420 sign in dead center field. Ball's crushed.
Yeah. Last season, Escobar was a 300 hitter, and boy, he has looked good with the bat so far this spring. Here's Nava, who has looked good as well. Chance to bring in Escobar. Switch hitter batting left, first pitch, and that one misses low on Daniel Nava, who this spring is hitting .560. Trout waits on deck. Peralta's next pitch. That is hit sharply right over by the Angels dugout.
There were a lot of yawns, guys, when the Angels signed Daniel Nava, but we're talking about a guy in the AL East, Gooby, hit .303 and 450 at-bats 2 years ago, including .375 against the Yankees when he went 18 for 48, which is obviously where Billy Epler saw him a lot.
And his patience at the plate has been outstanding in using the entire field. That's the thing that everyone's been liking so far down here in camp.
And he lifts this one in the air. It's not deep at all to right center field. Coming over hard is the right fielder, and Presley will make the catch on that. Oh, he had to come a long way. That ball was not very deep at all. So Escobar stays at second. That's the first out, and here is Mike Trout. Trout getting a nice round of applause as he gets set for his first at bat. Mike Trout, 1 home run so far this spring. 11 for 28 at the plate. Here's the pitch. He cuts it that one and fouls it off on the right side. Trout going after the first pitch. We've seen the Angels so aggressive, the approach at the plate here in camp.
Yeah, we talked to, remember the other day we talked to Dave Hansen about that. And it's all about getting himself in accounts where you're going to get a fastball. And that's the pitch you can do the most damage with. It might be the first pitch, also might be the 4th or 5th, but if it's a good fastball to drive first pitch, they've been letting it go.
Next pitch hit sharply down to third, off the glove of Hill, recovers, throws, and still has time to get Trout. It was hit right at Hill. He kept the ball in front of him. So Trout is retired. Escobar still has to hold at second, so he's there with 2 outs, and Albert will be the next batter.
Well, he definitely squared that baseball up, Mike Trout did. But Hill kept that in front of him. A long throw across the diamond to get Mike Trout at first base.
So here's Albert Pujols. Right-hander against right-hander. Peralta's delivery, and a little cue shot into right. That's going to fall in for a base hit. Escobar is going to be waved home. He'll score easily. Albert goes the opposite way, dropping one into fairly shallow right center. It's 1-0 Angels.
And that's exactly what you want to see, Terry and Roger, out of Albert Pujols. We know he can drive the ball out to left field, left center field. It's when he has that approach of hitting the ball the other way. It's going to open up a lot more for him to do damage-wise. You can see that approach. He wasn't trying to do a whole lot with that swing. Just let that baseball travel deep in the strike zone and punch it out the right field for an RBI single.
Yeah, you mentioned the approach. Very unselfish right there by Albert. He wasn't looking to hit the ball mile over the fence, just went with what he was given. And the pitch, this is hit well by Cole Calhoun in right center field. Flores is chasing the center fielder, and he makes the grab out on the track in front of the wall. A long out to end the inning. Angels have a couple hits and score a run in the first. We're headed to the second inning. 1-0 Angels on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Second inning, 1-0 Angels. This copyrighted broadcast presented by authority of Angels Baseball may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of today's game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Angels Baseball. So Chris Carter gets ready to lead things off, and the first delivery, he ends up taking that one for ball one, 1-0. Carter, very good power. Saw him the last few seasons with the Houston Astros. And the next pitch, he checks the swing on that one and foul tips it over by the Angels on deck circle.
Chris Carter, Terry, always seemed to hit the Angels so well when he was wearing an Astro uniform. No question about that.
Yep. He's a big swing and miss guy, but very good power. So when he makes contact, he is trouble. Here's the next pitch, and that one is a little bit low.
Hey, Gooby, who was the team that you owned? When you saw that uniform, you felt good because you knew you were going to have a good day.
Was that in high school? There were certain ballparks that, I mean, I love pitching up in Oakland, pitching there in that ballpark, unless it was in the day game. But at night, it was always no matter who they had, whether it's McGuire, Canseco, and those guys, you always felt comfortable pitching. I like pitching against, the Red Sox back in the day. There were some clubs that gave me some troubles.
There's a liner hit right to center. Trout backpedals, and he's under. He'll put that one away. Carter is retired. One gone here in the second.
Especially in Tiger Stadium, the old time. I could pitch well against, for whatever reason, at home, but against them in their ballpark, it didn't work out real well.
A lot of foul territory up in Oakland, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Need that.
So Presley is the batter. Left-handed hitter. He's had a couple of home runs this spring. He was with the Astros last season. They have 3 players in their lineup who saw some time with Houston, and the connection is certainly their young first-year GM, David Stern, who came over from the Astros organization. So he brought some of these players over to take a look at them with Milwaukee. Here's the next pitch. That's fouled off on the left side. Mentioning their GM, David Stern, he is only 31 years old. The new wave, a lot of younger GMs now in the game.
Well, when you look at this lineup for Milwaukee, not many players in this lineup are from the Milwaukee organization.
Right. Next one on Presley. That's low and inside. Eski Maya going for the Angels today. Pretty quick worker, and the 2-1 pitch. That's lined the opposite way, but it will drop foul down the left field side. Fans, be a winner. Play in the Gardens Casino New Omaha Progressive Jackpot. Visit thegardenscasino.com for more info, and please play responsibly.
Gooby, surprised to see Ray Navarro out at second base for the second straight game?
No, he's done a nice job.
Yeah.
I mean, it was battling some arm issues himself a little bit ago, but that's the thing. This bench and the extra players this year, I think, for the Angels is going to be much improved from what we've seen the last year or two, which is important because you got to give your players, your everyday players, a day off here and there. And I think that's what happened at certain points last year. They were just worn out for the number of innings and games played in a row with no time off.
On the 3-2 delivery, a good eye by Presley taking that pitch, and that'll miss inside for ball 4. And the batter now will be Martin Maldonado. Well, when you think of last season, the Angels' top reserve infielder was Taylor Featherston, and where the Angels are now, I mean, there's going to be some pretty good infielders who are not going to make this club coming out of camp here in Arizona. So the Angels have definitely upgraded their depth around the infield. Here's the pitch. That's a pitch and misses. Snap throw to first. Just diving back goes Presley.
And Gooby, I've asked you this question a couple of times during my wildly popular afternoon drive show on Angels Radio, AM 830, the Sports Lodge, about the fact that last season, the fact that the Angels were one game out on the final day of the season. Could I have made a case with everything that happened last year that last year was one of Mike Scioscia's best managerial jobs ever?
There's no doubt about it. And anybody and most people around baseball said the same thing, because you look at the overall talent last year and some key guys being hurt, some guys they didn't get much out of. To be in that position, to actually have the lead in that game on that Sunday, last game of the year, if you win that, you have a chance to have a play-in game the next day. That it was an incredible job by Mike Scioscia. And he said we didn't have many guys that could do any running, and that's what they've done a lot in spring training here, because they're going station to station and counting on everybody to, you know, hit home runs or hit extra base hits instead of trying to manufacture runs.
1 ball, no strikes on Maldonado, and he cuts and misses that one, and the count even on him. It's 1 ball, 1 strike.
I like the feel around this ball club. I've been fortunate enough to be around, and they put up with me now for the last 6 or 7 years. But in that clubhouse this spring, there's a great attitude down there, Gooby, and a lot of real positive energy coming out of the Halo clubhouse here so far in spring training.
Here's the next pitch. That one is fouled back, and I'll just jump in and mention, I think a lot of that credit should go to Billy Epler.
Yeah.
I really do. I think he has nurtured a very good working relationship with Mike Scioscia. That's so important. Mike and the coaches really seem to be working well with him. I think Billy's brought some pretty good talent to the Angels here in the offseason. Runner goes, the pitch grounded on the right side. Falling down was Navarro. He was going to cover second, so no fault of his. Going into third now, being waved home is Presley. The throw to the plate is cut off, and he will score. So they had the runner going on a hit and run, and Presley scores all the way from first base. It's 1-1.
Pretty aggressive by Milwaukee to be able to score all the way from first. It looked like Navarro was going to make that adjustment and try to come back and get the baseball as he cover second on the potential steal hit and run. It was a pretty good pitch, jammed him as he stopped to try to go back. He didn't get his footing, and the ball just slowly rolled into the outfield. And Presley, who has good speed, avoids that ground ball going by him, and then just keeps going and picks up their base coach and waving them on home, making sure you have to have a perfect throw, and it was not the case.
So here's Eric Young Jr., and he takes that pitch for a ball. He was with the Mets and the Braves last year. He's been around, switch hitter. Trying to win a spot on the Brewers roster as a reserve player. And here's the next delivery. He cuts to that one, fouls it off on the left side, out of play.
And Terry, getting back to your story about Billy Epler, same thing, Roger, is when you have a good relationship between your manager and general manager, things are going smoothly, that carries down to the coaching staff, who then carries it into the players. And you can see the guys, Mike Scioscia always has a good time in spring training, especially his meetings, and has fun with that. But you can see how comfortable everybody is.
Here's the
throughout the entire team.
Flip to second base by Navarro, and they say that the Angels shortstop Pennington was off the bag. So it looked like the Angels were going to get at least one out on that play, but don't get any. And runners at first and second with just one out here in the inning. Well, there's no challenges or usage of replay here in these exhibition games.
And again, that's in that whole conversation about in the neighborhood type play now. And that's something that they've talked about and have changed during the offseason. You got to have that foot and make connection with the base as the baseball was going into your glove, not just kind of in that area anymore.
Here's the pitch, and at the plate is Jeanette. So they're going to charge Navarro, the second baseman, with the error on his throw to second base, trying to get Maldonado. And runners at first and second with only one out, a run in. It's 1-1 here in the second. Jeanette flied out to left field deep, his first time up leading off the ball game. He's their leadoff man, and the pitch. And he lines this one into right field. That's going to fall in front of Cole Calhoun for a hit. And now the bases are loaded with one out. So runners everywhere. Jonathan Villar will be the next batter. We'll check out the Dodge Out-of-Town scoreboard on this Saturday in just a moment. It's brought to you by the Dodge Challenger, an estimated 30 miles per gallon highway. This car was made for driving. Visit Dodge.com. And in the Florida Grapefruit League, a lot of games were rained out. But there are a couple that they got in. One was called after 5 innings. Boston beat St. Louis 3-1. Sandoval and Mookie Betts had home runs for Boston in that one, and they're in the 8th inning, and the Yankees are leading the Braves 3-2. The rest of the Grapefruit League schedule postponed by rain, and the next batter lines one into left field. The catch is made there by Nava, tagging at third base, and coming in to score is the lead runner Maldonado. And on the sacrifice fly by Villar, Milwaukee has taken a 2-1 lead.
I think if you go back on this play, Nava might rethink that. He might have had a play at the plate there. He was thinking he can double up the runner at second base. And Eric Young Jr. thought he might have a play because he was drifting off the base thinking that ball was going to fall down, but charged well by Daniel Nava.
Yeah, that was Maldonado, the catcher, running.
Yeah, I think they have a play on him. But Nava thought he might have had a chance to double up the runner at second instead.
So here's Lucroy. 2 outs, runners at first and second, 2 runs in. Brewers up 2-1. Lucroy singled his first at bat. The Angels bat in the bottom of the second. Crone, Pennington, and Perez against Peralta. Here's the pitch. That's lined into center, and that's going to fall in for a base hit. Going into third base and being waved home is Eric Young as he scores, and the Brewers get their 3rd run in the inning. They lead it 3-1. On that play, runners now at first and second.
Gooby, not exactly the outing Yuneski Maya was looking for here this afternoon.
No, and there's been some plays here in this inning, too. I mean, you got to credit Milwaukee, what they have done in this inning. They've kind of taken a page out of Mike Scioscia's playbook as far as hitting and running, tagging up, being aggressive, going the extra base, and that's put pressure on the defense.
Here's the pitch. That is a little bit low. Yeah, that play at second base, if the Angels get the out, this is a different inning.
And that's why you put hit and runs on, because you get the defenders out of their comfortable position. You're going to have to move, and then trying to stop sometimes, you're able to go back the other way.
Pickoff toss to second. Back to the bag goes Jeanette. The Angels have had an error in this inning, so not all the runs are earned. Right-hander against right-hander. And the pitch, that's a little bit low. Aaron Hill is the 8th batter up in the inning. The inning started out with Chris Carter lining out the Mike Trout, but since then, a lot of action for Milwaukee. 2 balls, no strikes on Hill. Here's the next pitch from Maya. That's outside and low. He's fallen behind. It's now 3-0. Maya pitched last year in South Korea. 13 games as a starter there. And he did throw a no-hitter last year in South Korea, but his record was just 2-5 in 13 starts. Here's the pitch, and that's a little bit low, and that's a 4-pitch walk. So the second time Hill has walked. Maya having some trouble closing out the inning. Flores will be the next batter, and that is the second walk in the inning and third already in the game for Unieski. Charlie Nagy, the Angels pitching coach, going out to try and settle him down.
Yeah, missing quite a bit on the outside part of play. Didn't make it much of an adjustment on those 4 pitches to Hill.
Hey, Gooby, no one better to ask this question than a Kansas City Royal Hall of Famer like yourself. You see a lot of teams putting the hit and run on, running the bases, you know, being aggressive at the plate. Just put the bat on the ball and good things will happen. You think a lot of teams are out there looking to duplicate the success of the Kansas City Royals?
Yeah, the blueprint of them, and even the San Francisco Giants for that matter. You know, you don't have to rely on a home run ball. We're seeing baseball evolving back where you have to have real good pitching, really solid defense, a lot more moves being made during the offseason, putting the premium on guys that can catch the baseball and creating runs. Best way to do that is run, square around the bunt on occasion, even though we went away from that for a while as far as sacrifice bunts. But as you can see, just getting that one run across can help you win games.
Here's the next pitch, and there's a liner that'll drop into right center field. This is going to drive in 2, and at second base with a 2-out, 2-run double is Flores. So the lead has grown, and now it's 5-1 Milwaukee. And they have batted around here in this top of the second. So Maya just can't get the final out.
Yeah, that's a product of just trying to make sure you throw a strike, and that was an elevated fastball. And as a hitter, that's where you want an opportunity to get a fastball to do some damage, and Flores certainly did that when he got that pitch out over the plate.
Now he's got to deal with Chris Carter, Angel Slayer.
Carter batting for the second time in the inning. Maya did retire him leading off the inning, and the pitch is a ball. Angels have not been behind in many games of late, especially early in the ball games. Angels scored again in the first inning today, but it's now 5-1 Milwaukee here in the second, and the pitch, that's a strike on the outside corner. Runners at second and third, 2 outs. Maya's next pitch, and that one is cut at and missed. He's over 40 pitches here in this ball game.
Well, you could sense some frustration for him too, because he knows the opportunity there for him. You know, some guys are banged up as far as the rotation. You want to perform at the highest level every single time you go out to take the mound.
Here's the next delivery, and that one just missed. 2-2 the count. Maya kind of caught the Angels' eye this winter. He pitched very well in winter ball in the Dominican. He had good numbers there. He has pitched in the big leagues before with the Nationals, was with them in the 2010, 2011, and 2013 seasons. Here's the next pitch. And Carter, did he hold up? No, goes around, and he's retired twice in the inning. But in between, 5-run score here for Milwaukee. They have a 5-1 lead as we go to the bottom of the second on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West.
This is Smith.
Fans, don't forget the 20-game flex plan offers a variety of game options to choose from, which includes opening night, premium matchups, and popular promotional giveaway nights. Visit angels.com/ticket plan. So the Angels have some catching up to do. The Brewers with the 5 in the top of this second inning. We go to the bottom of the second. It's 5-1 Milwaukee. And batting for the first time today is C.J. Cron, who takes the pitch low and away, ball 1. Of those 5 runs the Brewers got in the top of the second, only 1 of the runs earned, and the pitch that's popped in the air foul over on the right side. Maldonado, the catcher, is going to run out of room.
Baseball went right into the dugout. We saw Tyler Skaggs sitting in the dugout. Talked about him earlier. Threw 2 innings in a simulated game down in field 2 here, the minor league fields. It's great to see him. There he is there, and I'll tell you what, he threw the ball really, really well. Great to see that.
Here's the 1-1, and there's a pitch that misses ball 2. It's 2 balls and 1 strike.
Manager Mike Scioscia told me he's expecting big things out of C.J. Cron. Of course, remember last year after coming back up from Salt Lake, he had that 343 July and 321 in August, Google.
Yeah, he has the power. The thing with him is trying to shorten up his swing enough where he utilizes the whole field. He's a doubles machine. He can hit the ball to right center, left center, and he does have great power also.
Here's the next pitch, and that one is ripped past the shortstop, and that ball's going to get into left field. So Cron is on to start the inning off. The Angels have hit number 3 against Peralta. That ball was hit sharply. And here's Cliff Pennington.
Yeah, CJ's been getting a lot of at-bats of late. We've seen that, Jerry, even on the road trips, going on the road trips, is to start getting his timing back. Started off kind of slow here in spring, but that's a perfect swing from him there.
Pennington, the batter, he's really been hitting of late. And here's the pitch. He grounds that one through the right side. That's a base hit. Well, Peralta isn't fooling anyone. Another single. Angels have had 7 batters bad, and 4 have already had hits. And now Carlos Perez, the catcher, will be the next batter.
Between Pennington and Escobar, swinging at that first pitch often and hitting the ball extremely hard on that first pitch. What you're going to see now is scouts writing a note saying those guys are jumping on the first pitch fastball. The Angels, they're going to see more and more as even spring training progresses, certainly into the season, off-speed pitches, first pitch. But still, I would take that anyhow and force yourself into a good fastball count at some point.
Maldonado, the catcher, steps in front of the plate, setting up the Milwaukee defense, flashing the signals. Carlos Perez, the Angels catcher, digging in. Tying right now in the on-deck circle on the pitch. That's high and away. 1 ball, no strikes.
Can you guys believe a spring training game here in the month of March is standing room only at Tempe Diablo Stadium today? It's incredible.
Amazing.
Angels very well will have their 3rd home sellout. Here's a grounder hit softly on the right side. They'll flip the second one. That's it. That ball's not hit hard enough for Milwaukee to try and turn 2. So Carlos Perez is retired on the fielder's choice. They get the out on Pennington at second. Runners at the corners, 1 away, and here's Ray Navarro. Navarro had a big day yesterday. Drove in 4 of the 6 Angel runs against the Rockies in that tie here. Had a 3-run homer, also a sac fly. And he had been out for a while because of some arm issues. Here's the pitch. This looks like another sac fly. It's hit into center field. Making the grab is Flores. So tagging at third is Cron, and Navarro drives in another run. It's now 5-2 Milwaukee.
Hey, Gooby, last year in Baltimore, Ray Navarro, 276 in just 10 big league games, a homer and 3 RBIs. Do you see him as a guy that can contribute offensively as well with the glove this season?
Well, there's no doubt. And like we talked about earlier, the depth and the competition for the extra players is going to be strong all the way up to the last game of spring training, including the ones against the Dodgers at home and potentially even that game against the Chicago Cubs on that Sunday before we open up against the Cubs on Monday. You know, Pennington is another guy that has been playing a lot, but normally you'll see Simmons at shortstop. Pennington is a guy who's going to be rove around the entire infield. He's been doing a great job. So like we said, this team is very deep as far as some bench help as compared to what we've seen in the last couple of seasons. Serious competition.
So here's Escobar, the Angel leadoff man. He's doubled and scored one of the 2 Angel runs. The pitch, it's low and outside. Maldonado, a snap throw to first. Hustling back to the bag goes Carlos Perez.
Kind of reminds me of the heyday of Pete Carroll at USC, Gooby. No matter how good you were, whether it was Reggie Bush or Matt Leinart or any of those guys, you came to practice on Monday and Tuesday. It was wide open for jobs, and Pete made that clear. And there's nothing wrong with good, healthy competition amongst your ball club.
It makes everyone better. The focus for all the players is there. No one's just going to coast their way into the season. You got to play hard every day at the field and at the at-bat.
There's a pitch low and outside. Escobar holding up on that one. Outfield straightaway. Infield is backed up. 2 outs in the inning. Peralta is ready. And the next pitch. That is low.
And by the way, guys, when I was told I'm going to be sitting in with you guys today, I put it out on Twitter. The number one reaction, the number one question, it wasn't about the team. It wasn't anything. The biggest thing everyone wants to know on Twitter is Terry Smith started a Twitter account? That's what everybody wanted to know. It's insane. When is Terry going to join Twitter? It's unbelievable.
He's on board.
Are you on, Terry? Is it official?
I'm not on Twitter, no. No.
Terry's too famous.
I told you before, my son is a software engineer.
Yes,
so he could get me all squared away with this. But
the voice of the Angels needs to be on Twitter. Gooby, could you imagine the Twitter following?
Oh, it'd be unbelievable. I think Taylor Swift and then Terry Smith.
There's one that's tapped softly on the third base side. That's hugging the line. And boy, oh boy, about, 80% of the way it was fair. And then it just rolled foul.
That foul ball came as close to being a single as Terry Smith is to joining Twitter. Right there, baby.
So speak for yourself, Raj.
I'll tell you what, a ground ball like that at the Big A is going to stay fair.
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
Here, just rolls foul. In Anaheim, always stays along that line and stays fair.
Yep.
And that's one of the things you'll see coaches, opposing teams come out and roll baseballs down the first base line, third base line, and they'll notice that the baseball will roll back into fair territory.
Yep.
He's trying to help you out there, Smitty, on that Twitter stuff.
Let's change the subject.
Change the subject for you.
That away. I know you have my back, dude.
Wait, my wife says I'm the king of the subject change. You took it to a whole new level there, Gooby. That was impressive. You can't teach that.
Runner goes again. Next pitch. That one is fouled back on the right side, out of play. So the battle goes on. Escobar and Peralta. Terry Smith, Mark Ubisaw, Roger Lodge from the Sports Lodge on our flagship station, Angels Radio AM 830, joining us for Cactus League action here today. Here's the 3-2 once again, and that's a ground ball base hit out of the reach of the R. It'll bounce on through in the left.
Well, he gets a hit almost every at bat, it seems to be. And the good thing about some of the new additions that the Angels have, you have Nava, Escobar, Simmons, all those guys put the ball in play. They do not strike out a whole lot. So that allows Mike Scioscia to put things on as far as hitting and running and guys in motion, because he has trust that they're going to put the ball in play.
And last year in the National League East with the Nationals, Yunel Escobar, he hit leadoff 24 times last year. .315 is the leadoff batter, hit second in 47 games, hitting .309. So Gooby, some versatility with Escobar. You can move him first or second in your batting order.
Yeah, that was the conversation coming into camp. Where are they going to put him? Because he's also a guy that can drive in runs. He can hit in your fifth or sixth in your lineup also. So versatility for Escobar.
Ooh. And the pitch, and boy, that hits Nava right on the helmet. It knocked the helmet right off his head. Immediately he springs up. And we'll see. He's walking up the first base side. You can sense he wants to stay in the ballgame. Boy, you could hear that upstairs here when that pitch hit his batter.
You know, to go through that concussion protocol, too, for Nava as he gets down towards first base.
Scary moment right there.
Yeah, they're going to take their time with him right now. Look him over real good.
Boy, and he tried. He did a good job as far as turning his head. Be able to absorb that on the back of the helmet, but even that, very scary for him. But if you're a youngster watching this game at home, anytime you see a baseball coming at you, you want to turn your shoulder and your head as quick as possible to avoid getting it hit, at the very least, in the face.
Derek Johnson is the pitching coach, so he's out there to talk to Peralta. There was no intent there, but boy, that was scary, and they're still talking to Nava. Angels manager Mike Socia, head athletic trainer Adam Neville there, and Nava's going to leave. I think just cautionary. Nava, as we've mentioned, has been such a spark plug in the Angels lineup, so hopefully everything's going to check out okay for him.
So when Derek Johnson goes out to the mound there, Gooby, what's he telling? What's he telling him there?
He's just basically, because as a pitcher, when that happens, you feel horrible.
Sure.
So he's just trying to get him to take a deep breath and take a breather and just relax out there, because obviously he wasn't trying to do anything like that.
Ortega is the pinch runner. Bases are loaded here for Trout, and he could get the Angels right back in this ball game, trailing 5-2. 2 outs, runners everywhere. Here's the next pitch, the 1-0. And that breaking ball missed outside. 2-0 the count.
As you can see, there's residual for a pitcher when you hit a batter in the helmet. All of a sudden, you're not in sync yourself, and 2 pitches in a row well off the outside corner.
Here's the 2-0. Trout lifts it high in the air and hits it well into right center field. Presley is going back, and he's at the rim of the track to gather that one in. A long out to end the inning. So the Angels settle for 1, but leave the bases loaded here in the bottom of the second. The third is next as we go there. 5-2 Milwaukee on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Third inning, 5-2 Milwaukee. Fan spring training baseball is live with the MLB.com at-bat app. Stay connected all spring with radio broadcast, video highlights, stats, news, and more. Download MLB.com at-bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your smartphone and tablet. So Alex Presley will be the first batter here for Milwaukee. He sent 10 to the plate last inning, scored 5 runs, but only one of those runs earned. Pitch was in there from Maya, and the count, no balls and a strike. Here's the next pitch, and that's a little bit low and inside. It misses.
Gooby, how Mike Trout ended the bottom of the second. Deep fly ball to right. The power to all fields is just amazing. And yesterday, I worked an event with Billy Epler, who referred to Mike Trout yesterday as the modern-day Mickey Mantle.
No question, even the look of him. Even the hair and the jaw and the speed and the power. There's no doubt. When you talk about Mike Trout, he's been compared to Ted Williams, Ricky Henderson, Joe DiMaggio, all the immortals of the game, what he's done in such a short period of time in his career.
There's a ground ball. It's hit to short. Pennington will throw out Presley, and that's the first out. I remember talking to Don Mattingly when he first saw Trout. He said he reminds me of Ken Griffey Jr.
Wow.
You know, the thing about Trout and players like Ken Griffey Jr., just the joy they have in their face when they play this game. That's the important thing. Not only the talent is there, but is whether you're at the ballpark watching them play or watching them on TV or listening on the radio, it makes you feel that much better about the sport when you have somebody that good that enjoys playing the game so much.
And according to my Sports Lodge insiders, my sources.
You got some sources here? One of these things?
I got some scoop on Mike Trout during the offseason. Basically a legend at Legacy Lanes in Millville, New Jersey. Bowling team for Michael Nelson Trout.
0-2 the count on Maldonado as he was really fooled off speed on that last pitch.
I got my sources, guys. Come on now.
Goobs, how's your bowling?
Gooby bowling.
Any 300 games in your career?
Maybe if I added up about 15 of them.
There's one that's a little bit low.
I'd be willing to bet Mark Goob is a Kansas City Royal Hall of Famer, American League All-Star, has his own bowling shirt, maybe with, what, the word Sparky in parentheses on the front? Come on, Gooby, you got a bowling shirt.
No.
I'm wearing bowling shoes right now.
Here's the
That's a bad
1-2.
visual.
That's a bouncing ball back to the mound. Stopped there by Maya. Good job. Underhands the toss to first in time. And Maldonado is retired. Eric Young Jr. will be the batter. Well, Roger, you'll have to set up the first annual Mike Trout bowling tournament.
Okay.
There you go.
You know
in
what, Terry?
conjunction with the Sports Lodge.
I'm stealing that idea right now. Do I have your permission to use it?
Absolutely.
C.J. Wilson has a bowling thing every year. We got to start with Mike Trout.
All right.
I love it. I'm all over that. Making a note of it right now.
Mike Trout bowling shirt night. I mean, the possibilities are endless, aren't they?
Hey, we do a Halo honk night. Anything is possible. Anything is possible.
Here's the first pitch on Young. That's low. 1-0 the count. Let's pause for stations to identify themselves on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. On a 1-0 pitch, Young takes it's right in there, so it's 1 ball, 1 strike.
Maya, much better this half inning. I think I looked in the dugout. He had a conversation with Charlie Nagy. And what you've seen him do more so this inning, he's utilizing his curveball and his all-speed pitch. He threw a lot of fastballs that last inning, and they were just sitting back and timing the fastball. He's changing speeds exceptionally well, and you can tell it's exactly what Charles Nagy said. Hey, let's start using our all-speed pitches. It makes your fastball better.
Here's the 2-strike delivery. Tried to sneak that fastball in and just missed. Maya has a very good curveball. It's a slow curve that he uses. And we've seen that more right on the money mark as far as maybe a little change of game plan here in this third inning. The 2-2 delivery. And, boy, that didn't miss by much.
That's one of those pitches where Mike Soch and Charlie Nagy are saying, just stay right there. That's a perfect spot. It may have been an inch or two low, but you want to stay there. He's pointing right down the umpire. They're asking exactly that. Where was that pitch at?
So it's a full count. We'll see what gives on the payoff. Maya ready, and here it comes. It's chopped foul on the right side. Maya, Cuban-born. And when he fled to Cuba and signed with the Nationals. They signed him to a deal almost $7.5 million, a 4-year deal after he fled Cuba. 3-2 payoff pitch. That's off speed, and it missed inside. So waiting out the walk with 2 outs is Young. That'll flip it back to the top of the batting order, and Scooter Gennett.
Major League Baseball is going to be playing a game down in Cuba coming up soon. With the Cubs? It said the
Tampa Bay, and I guess they're going to play the Cuban national team. President Obama is going to be there.
And not sure if you guys heard or not, but in addition to that, they're also going to have a bowling tournament, which should be great. So there you go. Bowling is big. Bringing back the bowling reference. And by the way, Gooby, I know that, Maya wasn't looking for a 5 spot on the board last inning, but you want to see a guy under a little duress in spring, right? You want to see him try to get out of some jam.
Well, you see what kind of adjustments you can make.
Sure.
Runner goes to throw to second. It bounces by Pennington. He and the base runner Young collided there, but safe at second with the stolen bases, Eric Young. A little bit of a collision at second base. Pennington appears to be okay.
It's funny, Terry, anytime you see a collision now at second base, you immediately think of the Chase Utley-Ruben Tejada play. How about Ruben Tejada? Released by the Mets, signed by the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah, that one really surprised me. Really did.
It's a great pickup by the Cardinals, I think.
They weren't sure what they were going to do with Peralta's sideline for a few months.
There's talk about Eric Ibar's name being bantered around as far as the potential to go to the Cardinals.
Here's the next delivery, and it's lifted high in the air into right center field. Trout has to go back on that one and makes the running over the shoulder grab. That ball kept carrying. The inning is over. So that'll do it for Milwaukee here in inning number 3. We're headed to the bottom of the third. Brewers up on the Angels 5-2 on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Brewers. Albert Pujols leads things off as we go to the Angels' bottom of the third. It's 5-2 in favor of the Milwaukee Brewers. Albert so far today, RBI hit, his only time up. Peralta is set. Here's his first pitch, and that's a called strike. They don't quite have the left side infield shift on it, Albert. Now, as I say that, sure enough, Scooter Gennett is moving over to the left side, the second baseman. So they have 3 over there now. And the pitch, it's hit high, and it's hit well into left field, and you can kiss it goodbye. Out of here, home run, Pujols. No doubt about it. Albert's second one this spring. Angels get a little closer. It's 5-3 Milwaukee.
Impressive so far day for Albert Pujols. He's trying to get his swing going. A base hit RBI in the right center field. This time hits a home run to left field. Crushed that baseball on an 0-1 count.
That guy's amazing, Gooby. 1 o'clock game today. I walk up to the field at 8 in the morning. There's Albert Pujols in the batting cage over the right field wall working on. Look at that swing.
And a lot of times, you know, his nickname is the Machine.
Right.
But, you know, everyone, because of all the home runs, I think it's come down to his work ethic. He's a machine as far as that.
Here's Cole Calhoun blasting one down the right field side. It smacks off the wall. He'll have to hustle into second. The throw is cut off, and Calhoun has a hustle double, as it turns out. He's in scoring position, and boy, a couple of ropes off of Peralta to start off the bottom of the third inning.
Already 7 hits against Peralta. There has been some baseballs hit hard. Trout's 0 for 2, but he scolded the ball twice. One hopper to third. Deep fly to right center field. A lot of real good swings, and we've seen that a lot of late, Terry and Roger, how good the approaches have been at the plate, and this crushing them whenever there's a mistake made at all.
So here's Crone. He has a base hit, and he takes that one low. Yeah, the Angels, Mark mentioned 7 hits. They've had 14 batters bat, so half of the hitters have had hits against Peralta. He's also hit a batter in the ball game as well, so he isn't fooling anyone. The Angels have scored runs in each of the first 3 innings, but still trailed by a pair, have the tying run at the plate. Peralta's set. Here's the pitch. On the outside part of the plate, called strike.
I asked C.J. Crone this morning, how much have you learned about hitting just being around Mike Trout and Albert Pujols? The answer, a lot.
And sometimes those guys don't even have to tell them anything. Just watch their approach and how hard they work before the preparation before the game.
Next pitch on Crone. That's low and inside. It misses for a ball. Fans, don't forget Experian. Let's get serious about your credit. Go to Experian.com today. Willie Peralta, 4th start this spring for Milwaukee. He's behind 2 balls and a strike here on Crone, who goes the opposite way and fouls that one off on the right side. It's out of play.
A lot of question marks, Terry, as far as this Brewers rotation is concerned. You talked about Peralta. I mean, this guy was 17-11 2 years ago. 5-10 last year, ERA nearly 5, and the fastball about 2 miles per hour, a little slower this season, and the strikeout ratio from 7 per 9 to 5 per 9 last season.
2-2 is the count. Here's the next one on Crone. That's low and inside. Another guy they're hoping it can bounce back is Matt Garza, who had a real rough year last year. 14 losses. ERA was over 5.5 for Milwaukee last year.
Always liked his stuff, especially when he was coming up with Tampa, but it's really starting to regress for him. A very good competitor. Has not made his pitches of late.
There's Crone taking a pitch on a 3-2. It missed outside, so every hitter so far in the inning has gotten on base safely. First walk given up by Peralta, 2 on, and Pennington will be the next batter.
Gooby, when you see Matt Garza sign a 4-year, $50 million deal, are you thinking maybe, you know, I'm going to throw him, maybe go back to work on my slider a little bit?
No. Unless they can move the mound up to about 40 feet away, okay. then I would think about it. I'm happy where I'm at right now.
We got Pat Murphy, part of that Brewers coaching staff down there.
Yes, indeed.
How about that?
So here is Pennington. 2 on, no outs. He's around the bunt, drops a nice one down on the third base side, fielded by Peralta. Have to hurry the throw late. That's going to be a bunt hit. Well, Peralta is a pretty big guy, not all that swift, but he did everything he could. Just couldn't get the throw to first in time. One single, bases loaded, nobody out for Carlos Perez.
That was a perfect bunt. I think Pennington did that on his own. That's just the perfect bunt. Just laid that down. As you can see, Cole Calhoun was not going, so he did that all on his own, which you'd like to see. I thought they might do that, especially you're down by 2. Got a chance to put both guys in scoring position, but a nice perfect bunt by Pennington not only gets the job done, but ends up with another hit. He is, between him and Escobar, is absolute hit machines.
Carlos Perez with a chance to do some serious damage right now. Fielder's choice so far. Middle part of the infield, double play depth. They're in at the corners. Here's the pitch. In there, are called strike.
Working counts, taking the extra base, hit and run, throwing down bunts there with runners at first and second, nobody out. Gooby, is it a combo, a little small ball mixed in with, you know, you guys that can hit 30 home runs a year?
Yeah, I mean, Terry and I have talked to Mike Scioscia quite a bit over the last few days. He said he now finally feels comfortable, right, Terry, that they have the right personnel to do that. When you don't have the personnel, you can't just force that on your team. And he feels he has the personnel to do all those things this year.
1 ball, 1 strike here on Perez. Next pitch. He swings at that one and pops it in the air. Shallow right field. Presley comes in. He has a play. He'll make the catch, and no chance to tag on that one at third for Cole Calhoun. So the Angels were hoping for more than that from Perez. That's the first out. Ray Navarro, who's been driving in a lot of runs here last couple days, will be the batter. He's already had a sac fly today.
He's done a real nice job as far as knowing the situation of getting a pitch high enough to where he can hit a deep enough fly ball. He's had a couple sacrifice flies in his last 2 starts.
So Navarro waits the first one here from Peralta. Here it comes. He goes after it. He grounds it on the right side. This is going to get a run in. The ball stopped by Jeanette. He'll throw out Navarro, but he gets another RBI. Calhoun comes in and scores on the ground out. It's now a 5-4 ball game. Favor of the Brewers, and the Angels have them at second and third with 2 outs.
That was a real nice play by Jeanette. That baseball looked like it was destined to get into that outfield grass. He showed some pretty good range to make that play. Not only make the play, but gather himself up to make a pretty good throw to first base also. The ball was by him. He's into the outfield grass, gathered himself strong through the first base, but nice play. Even though the run scores for the Angels, Jeanette, a nice applause for that play he made with that range.
Escobar 2 for 2. He's the batter and checks the swing on that one and fouls it back to the screen.
We talked about Escobar in his last at bat, the versatility he brings. 314 last year against righties, 314 last year against lefties. And how about the guy he's taking over for? David Freese gets a 1-year deal, $3 million from the Pittsburgh Pirates, guys.
It's a good team, Pittsburgh, too. They'll like him over there. Good leader, David Freese.
There's a pitch a little bit low. We'll have a chance to see him this season. The Angels will play the Pirates in Pittsburgh.
Looking forward to seeing that ballpark. Everyone says it's beautiful.
1-1 is the count. Here's the next delivery from Peralta, and it's chopped on the third base side, but a foul ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Speaking of Pittsburgh, John Gibson, the goalie for the Anaheim Ducks from Pittsburgh area, says he's looking forward to seeing the Angels when they make that trip out there this year.
Going to be checking out the action?
Yes.
Wow.
Gooby with the Ducks reference. Love it.
Here's the next pitch. That one is low. Well, we've seen Freddie Anderson take some swings in the cage. We saw it here in spring training before. We saw it at the Big A.
We've seen Gooby on the ice at Honda Center this year on Angels Night with the Ducks. That was a big night.
Yeah, that was on with shoes, though.
Here's the pitch, and there's a liner over the first base bag. That's a fair ball. That's going to drive in a pair. Escobar has another hit. He was 3 for 3 yesterday. He's 3 for 3 today. And that is a 2-run double. And just like that, the Angels are back on top at 6-5. 4-run inning.
Boy, Billy Epler has to feel real good about what he has done during the offseason with some of these players he has brought in, especially Escobar, what he has done at the plate. He's been solid also defensively, a third baseman. But boy, he's used the entire field, worked some counts. He's aggressive, but we've already seen him work some full counts, get deep in counts, and still hit the ball hard to all fields.
So here is Ortega. He came in a pinch run for Nava, who was hit by a pitch on his helmet last inning in the bottom of the second, and Ortega's first at bat today grounds that one foul. Well, we mentioned coming in, Peralta had struggled. He had given up 12 hits, 6 earned runs in just over 7 innings, and the Angels have put 6 earnies on the board against them here today in 2 2/3, so they have to be a little bit puzzled with Willie Peralta. They were hoping he would be the 2014 version and not the 2015 version, but rough spring for him so far. Here's the next pitch, and that's inside on Ortega. 1 ball, 1 strike. Flores in center, very shallow. Ortega's not a real big power bat. He'll spray the ball around. Line drive hitter, good speed. 1-1. He lifts this one in the air to center field. This one is well hit. Flores is going back, still going back. It's over his head. Ball off the base of the wall, and another run scores. Headed for third is Ortega. He'll get there without a throw. That is a stand-up RBI triple, and it's 7-5 Angels.
Another one of those players that are battling for an extra spot, and he certainly has shown a ton, Ortega, not only with the bat, but his throwing arm has been outstanding too in the outfield. Versatility, can play some outfield positions. And another good swing, another rocket off the wall here. This outfield wall is getting beat up pretty good in this game.
So here's Mike Trout, who's trying to get in the act. And also now looks like we're going to have a pitching change here as where are we? Let's see. They're going to talk things over with Peralta. I thought I saw the pitching coach signal down there, but apparently not. Home plate umpire Alfonso Marquez is going to head out to the mound, so we'll see ultimately what is the decision here.
And this is one of those changes Major League Baseball has done in which there's a clock on how long you could be out there as a pitching coach. I think that's a great decision by Major League Baseball to speed up the game.
They're going to stick with them at least a little bit longer. So Trout will have another chance against Peralta. He's grounded out and flied out against him. Mike will be the 9th batter in the inning. The Angels sent 7 to the plate last inning and 5 to the plate in the first inning. Already 10 hits given up by Peralta and 7 earned runs in less than 3 innings. Here's the pitch on Trout. Ground ball sharply hit. Third baseman Hill stops it, went down, but the throw bounces in, and Carter can't hold on with the stretch, and another run scores. It's 8-5.
When Trout has hit the ball on the nose 3 different at-bats. Hasn't got a hit yet. But all you can do as a hitter is just keep squaring up the baseball, and he's done that.
So that's going to be an error on the throw by Aaron Hill. Angels are sending their 10th batter to the plate. Brewers sent 10 to the plate in the second. The Angels now doing it here in the third. Albert Pujols will be the batter.
And the Angels have hit for the cycle in this inning alone.
Yep, Albert led off the inning with a home run, the second of the spring. Toss over to first. Trout gets back.
A lot of people wondering when Albert Pujols will be ready to play first base this spring. Gooby, should be soon, right?
Yeah, we've been talking about the last couple days. Next week, he told me this the other day, he's going to be playing some first base. But what Mike Socha has said and should say and will say, we just want his bat out there.
Here's the pitch, and Albert swings and hits one deep again into left field. Out of here. A 2-home run inning for Albert Pujols. Angels now up 10-5. How about Albert?
And on cue, the bat is in the lineup. And that's what's the most important thing for this team. And this huge crowd that came in to watch this game, a lot of excitement on the offensive side, especially from the guy Albert Pujols today, this inning alone.
As Craig Counsell makes his way to the mound to remove Peralta, Peralta asks what took so long.
So we will have a pitching change when we get back. Angels have doubled up the Brewers with 8 in the inning. Lead at 10-5 on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West.
Hi.
Cole Calhoun will be the first batter for the Angels. The new pitcher is David Goforth. Willie Peralta had a rough outing, the Milwaukee starting pitcher. He gave up 11 hits, 10 runs, 8 earned in 2 2/3 innings today. And gave up a pair of home runs in the same inning to the same batter, Albert Pujols. You don't see that happen very often. Calhoun's already doubled and scored a run in this inning. Goforth is a right-hander, and here's his pitch. Calhoun goes after the first one and chops it right to Chris Carter, the first baseman. He'll solo to the bag, and just like that, the inning is over. But the best inning of the spring for the Angels, 8 runs in the inning, and the Angels have a 10-5 lead as we head to the fourth on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. New pitcher for the Angels as we head to the 4th inning is Fernando Salas. So he takes over for Maya. Yunieski Maya went 3 innings today. And he gave up 5 hits, 5 runs. But only one of the runs ended up being earned. The walk department, Maya issued 4, and he had 1 strikeout. So Salas, the new pitcher, and Jonathan Villar will be the first batter to face him. Salas so far here in the Cactus League has done a good job. 5 appearances and 5 shutout innings. Here's his first pitch, and Villar takes that one for a ball. It's 1-0. Terry Smith, Mark Ubasan, Roger Lodge from the Sports Lodge on Angels Radio AM 830 joining us today here in Tempe. And the pitch, that's right in there for a called strike. 1-1 the count.
Terry, safe to say, Street in the 9th, Joe Smith in the 8th, and Fernando Salas, of course, one of those prime candidates 7th inning this year, depending on the situation.
Right. There's one that's in there. I've been impressed by Mike Morin this spring.
Yeah.
He looks like the Morin of 2014. Last year's version, not nearly as successful, but he's looked very good.
In great shape, too, Terry. And I think he's utilizing his fastball more.
Here's Villar trying to hold up on a high fastball, and he went around. So Salas strikes out the first batter he faces. Lucroy will be the next hitter.
Yeah, Salas has one of those fastballs. It's not upper 90s, but it's a very deceptive fastball. He hides it well, and then right over the top, sometimes his hitter, especially when he elevates around from the belt high up to letter high, he gets a lot of swing and misses with that fastball. His slider's good, so is his changeup. Very big, valuable part of this bullpen the last couple seasons. Fernando Salas for Mike Scioscia.
Here's the pitch, and that's inside. It misses on Lucroy.
Yeah, Salas 63 and 2/3 innings last year, Gooby. He was a big part of what Mike Scioscia and that pitching staff did last season. No question about that.
And the bullpen is going to be utilized quite a bit early on, as it always is, because starting pitchers are trying to stretch out to get those innings and pitch count up. But considering where the guys are, a number of starters potentially in the rotation are a little bit further behind than normal, the bullpen is going to be used even more so for Mike Scioscia.
2 balls, no strikes. Next one on Lucroy, and that pitch misses for a ball. Lucroy, his name was kind of filtering around this offseason as far as a guy that maybe the Brewers would entertain dealing. It's in the final year of a 5-year deal, although they do have a club option on him for next year. Here's the next pitch, and that's right in there for a called strike.
Yeah, Milwaukee is over the last year or so starting to trade away some of their veteran players to restock their minor league system with prospects. Would not be surprised at some point you see Lucroy being moved by Milwaukee, especially when you get close to that August 1st deadline.
Here's the next pitch, and that one is high, and he is on with a 1-out walk. Lucroy had kind of an off year for him last season, but he had some injury issues. He hit .264, but he was a guy who the year before in 2014 led all National League catchers in games caught, and he's been a .300 hitter in the past. Hit .320 for Milwaukee back in the 2012 season. He's a good player and still relatively young at age 29. Here's the batter now, Aaron Hill, and he takes that one outside, and Perez will go out, walk the baseball back to Fernando Salas. Ray Navarro is going to come in from second base as well, and get a hold of that rosin bag to dry out a little bit.
There's always talk a lot of those bad contracts in Major League Baseball. Not that it's an awful one, but the money they gave to Ryan Braun and his numbers are down a bit, and they still owe him a ton of money. Gooby, 19 this year, 20 million next year, and $20 million 2 years from now. So, wow.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you're especially not a big market where you're really set back as far as your ability to get other players in there because you got a lot of money due to and owed to one player. So it becomes difficult.
Yeah.
Certainly it'd be difficult to move him without eating some of that contract.
2-0 the count on Aaron Hill, who's had a pair of walks. Those were against Maya. He swings at this one and lifts it in the air. Shallow right center. The second baseman, Navarro, will give way to Cole Calhoun, who comes in and makes the catch in right center. That's the second out.
So many phone calls in the Sports Lodge weekday afternoons on Angels radio. Why didn't Artie spend the money, for Justin Upton or, some of these other available left fielders? But everyone seems to forget this organization is still paying Josh Hamilton for the next couple of years. And, sometimes you got to say enough is enough. And one game out on the last game of the year last season, and we got nothing out of left field last year until, David Murphy arrived. But Matt Joyce was a gigantic disappointment last year. And look, the Angels were one game out on the final day of the regular season.
Yeah, the bottom line is, though, when you get to spring training, you're all about what this team has to offer now. And this team is playing exceptionally well. I think they've moved on to that from that, Roger. And that's why you're seeing a very excited ball club right now, what they can do this upcoming season.
Flores just went after the first pitch, grounds out the second. That's how the inning will end. So we are headed to the bottom of the fourth. Angels doubling up the Brewers 10-5 on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Bottom of the fourth, Angels up 10-5. C.J. Cron will lead it off. Fans, if you have a group of 20 or more interested in experiencing Angels baseball, receive group ticket pricing for as low as $6 per seat. Visit angels.com/groups. First one on Cron. He hits it sharply, but right down to third. Hill is there to stop it, and he will throw him out. So one pitch and one away. First time they've retired C.J. Cron today. The Pennington, who's 2 for 2, couple of singles, will be the next batter.
So Albert Pujols taking it on in after that inning alone with back-to-back home runs in the same inning as Jack Nicholson movie. It's as good as it gets. I'm going to take it on home after that. Sign a few autographs. Had a base hit RBI the other way. Hey, that's as good as it gets.
Yeah. So here is Pennington batting, and the first pitch on him, the switch hitter, that one is in there for a called strike. Kind of wonder about Albert, not that these exhibition games count, but 560 home runs in his big league career. How many 2 home run innings he's had in his career? Probably done it before.
Remember, Chan-Ho Park gave up 2 grand slams.
Fernando
the same batter in the same inning. Now that's good living right there.
Come on, how many?
That might set you back a little bit ERA-wise when you give up 2 grand slams yourself in the same inning to the same batter.
Yeah. 2 strikes here on Pennington, and the pitch, he lifts one high in the air into right center. It's hanging up for Presley, and he's under. He'll squeeze it. That's the second out. Carlos Perez will bat. He's gone 0 for 2 today.
How many broadcasts today around Major League Baseball give you an as good as it gets reference and a Fernando Tatis 2 grand slams and the same inning references. Come on. It's fantastic. Haven't seen Jack at too many Laker games this season. Not too many games courtside. Lakers are a tough watch this season.
They'll rebuild.
Yes, that's right. I got late breaking Laker news Monday in the Sports Lodge, Gooby. Oh, I got sources.
You got a lot of sources, don't you?
They're all over the place.
Is Terry Smith one of your sources?
Guess what NBA superstar would love to be in a Laker uniform next season? Find out Monday in the Sports Lodge on AM 830.
Kevin Durant, maybe?
Oh. Let's just say you're warm.
There's a cut and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike. Goforth, who took over for Peralta, appeared in 20 games last year for Milwaukee. He's been a closer in the past in the minors, and he's a guy who has thrown 100 miles per hour in the past, triple digits. There's an off-speed pitch, and he had Perez fooled.
It's truly amazing how many pitchers are now touching that 100-mile-an-hour mark, including Garrett Richards the other day in the game.
Here's the 1-2, and that one is low.
Guys, we had C.J. Cron leading off this inning. What about the other C.J.? Gooby, C.J. Wilson sent out a tweet here just, in the last hour or so saying that he's going to look like a completely different pitcher with a new delivery.
Yeah, that's what he says. Certainly, I think it's more so with his arm angle to alleviate some of the discomfort in his shoulder more so than this complete revamp as far as his delivery. Unless you're throwing submarine, there's really not a whole lot different. You can bring the glove over your head, with nobody on base, or start from the belt as far as your delivery. There's only so many different things you can do, but I think you can create a different arm angle to alleviate discomfort in your shoulder. And that's going to be, for him right now, it's important for CJ just to go back out there and compete.
Here's Perez lifting a high fly ball, shallow left field. Young coming in hard, and he will put it away, and the Angels go down quickly and quietly here in the 4th. The 5th is next. It's 10-5 Angels on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Fifth inning. That's where we are headed here. And looks like the Angels will bring in the closer, Houston Street, to work the 5th. So a good job by Fernando Salas. He worked the top of the 4th, and he retired 3 of the 4 that he faced. Walked 1 and struck out 1 in a scoreless inning of relief. Houston Street so far this spring, his numbers. This is appearance number 4. He's worked 3 scoreless innings so far for the Angels. Got a note from Matt Birch from the Angels PR department and communications department. Been 2 Angel hitters ever to have 2 home runs in the same inning in a regular season game.
Oh, who are they?
We'll get to it after the pitch, and this is skied in the air in the center field. This ball's hit well. Trout is going back, and he is at the rim of the track. They'll retire Carter on that deep drive. That ball hit over 400 feet, but it's out number 1.
Can we guess, Terry? Can we play trivia time?
Go ahead.
Time out for trivia?
Go ahead.
Okay, 2 home runs in 1 regular season inning. I'm going
by
to
an
go.
Angel.
Oh, by an Angel. Okay, I'm going to go back in the day, my man Roger Repose. Is that one?
No.
Okay. Gooby, got a guess?
I'm just going to go Joe Rudy.
No.
Oh, wait a second. Bonus baby Rick Reichart. Is that one of them?
That is one.
Yes, I'm on fire. Get out of my way.
1966 at Fenway. There's Presley batting, and that is low. And the only other Angel to do it, 2 home runs in the same inning in a regular season game. Kendrys Morales, 2012 at Texas.
That's right. I remember that now.
Yeah.
Well, he did an unbelievable job for Kansas City last year.
Oh, yeah. And one of the good guys in the game, K-Mo. Street is ready. Here's the 1-0 on Presley. And that is high and outside for ball. Fans, if your computer is running slow, go to mycleanpc.com. Get a free computer diagnosis. In minutes, you can activate MyClean software to clean out the junk that may be slowing down your computer. Check them out at mycleanpc.com. There's a pitch on the outside corner for strike.
Talk about those old halos, Roger Repose back in the day. I remember, I'll never forget sitting in the top deck of the Big A, a 15-inning game. Imagine this, Terry and Mark, a 15-inning game. Louis Tiant went all 15 for the Boston Red Sox. Wow. Unbelievable.
There's a liner jumping up is Pennington. He got a little bit of glove on it. It would have been a terrific play had he held on, and all skipped off his glove and drops into shallow left center. So 1 out hit for Presley. And Martin Maldonado will be the next batter.
Guys, pitchers today don't go 15 innings in 2 or 3 starts, Gooby. El Diante went all 15. Nolan Ryan went 12 through 246 pitches. And in the 15th inning, Denny Doyle drove home Mickey Rivers for the game-winning run.
You know, back in those days, starters got paid by getting W's.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, nowadays you talk about a lot of times is how many innings you got and quality innings, quality starts. Those guys, they didn't want to ever come out of a game. You were going to have to, if you were a manager, you're going to be willing to fight to take them off the mound. And there's some good and certainly some bad about that, because a lot of those guys, you know, their careers weren't as long as you would like, although Nolan Ryan certainly was.
Right.
But it's difficult when you're throwing 15 innings facing the guys. That's when you look at numbers now for people like an Albert Pujols and guys like Mike Trout. They put up the numbers they do when they face 3 or 4 different pitchers every single game, instead of like a pitcher like Louis Tiant for like 7 or 8 at bats during the course of a game.
Maldonado just missed the 0-1 pitch, so the count on him is no balls and 2 strikes. Been the backup catcher for a number of years for Milwaukee, and he's a former Angels farmhand. Never played for the Angels. Angels drafted him out of Puerto Rico back in 2004. He's turned out to be a very good backup catcher. There goes the runner, the pitch. A liner into left field, and it's going to drop in front of Ortega. Thought about maybe diving for it, ended up playing it on a hop. So that's a hit for Maldonado, his second of the game. They've had back-to-back 1-out hits. A little something going on for the Brewers, and Eric Young will be the next batter.
And Gooby, as we get closer to the regular season, in this outing, what is Houston Street working on today? What does he want to accomplish this afternoon?
Yeah, we just talked to him in one of our spring training minutes about how he prepares himself. And the thing with Houston is the closer he gets to the regular season, the more work he wants to get in. And the focus at this point forward is all about making quality pitches. And so far, Milwaukee has hit some pretty good shots against him. But he's refining everything, fine-tuning his pitches right now. He's going to start using them all, and that's important for him now to get his work in back-to-back games before too long, also to get ready for the regular season.
Eric Young taking the first pitch, and that was in there for strike 1.
And you saw him after that base hit he gave up. He talked to Carlos Perez exactly where location was, and he's got good balance over the pitching rubber right there, and that's the thing for Houston Street, his balance being good.
Next delivery, this is a liner hit right to the left fielder Ortega. Hardly had a move as that one was right at him there, medium left. Second out. Scooter Gennett will be the next batter.
Houston is really, really good when he's using his two-seamer sinker down in the strike zone. He's got a very good changeup and a very good slider, all predicated him being down in the lower part of the strike zone. When he elevates, and that's what he's asking Carlos Perez a number of times on these pitches, are these pitches upper part of the strike zone, and a number have been. And when they're up in the strike zone, he's susceptible to being hit pretty hard. Downstairs, he's excellent.
There's one that is in there for a called strike. Gennett's had a hit. Two runners on base, 2 outs. Angels up 10-5. Top of the 5th. We've seen Maya, Salas, and Alstreen. There's a cut and a miss by Gennett, and the count on him goes to no balls and 2 strikes.
I asked Houston Street the other day, because my 11-year-old son Peyton, when we watch games together, he always asked me, "Hey, Daddy, do you think Houston Street is nervous trying to close the game?" Houston Street told me flat out, "You darn right I am, and the reason I'm nervous is because I don't want to let down my teammates." Love that quote.
And the next delivery, that's cut on and missed. He gets Gennett, struck him out, and the inning is over. A little bit of a threat for the Brewers, but they failed to score. Bottom of the 5th is next. 10-5 Angels on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Here in the bottom of the 5th, Angels doubling up the Brewers right now, 10-5. Will Smith will take over, a former Angel farmhand. Big lefty, goes about 6'5", 260 pounds. And last year he was in 76 games for Milwaukee, had a 7-2 record in relief. Very good ERA, 2.70. Opponents hit only .220 against him last year. Here's his first pitch, and that one is tipped foul by Ray Navarro, switch hitter batting right against the lefty. Will Smith had 91 strikeouts in 63 1/3 innings. He's not a guy that will even reach the mid-90s with the fastball, kind of top out around 93, but he has a good slider. Curveball he likes to use against the right-handed batters. Throw a changeup as well. He's always been tough against lefties. And the 0-1, that's high and outside. It misses. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, he is a big guy out on that mound.
7th round pick of the Angels in 2008. And here's the next pitch, and that one is high and outside. So Smith replacing Goforth. And Go For It did a good job for him. Tired all 4 batters that he faced today. Here's the next one, and that is low and outside. So it's 3-1 on Ray Navarro, who's had a RBI with a sac fly and an RBI with a ground out. 6 runs batted in for him in the last 2 games. He didn't have an RBI going into yesterday's game against the Rockies. There's one fouled back on the right side, and it's 3-2.
It's amazing, guys, the star factor. Standing room only, and Mike Trout still has 1 at-bat to come here. A couple more batters. People hanging around. They don't want to miss 27 in the batter's box. It's amazing.
So 3-2 on Navarro. And the next delivery, and he fooled him right there. Struck him out. Got him with something off speed there, and 1 away.
I think in general, Roger and Terry, in sports, there's certain guys that when they either have the basketball like a Steph Curry, or in football or baseball or hockey, but when players like Mike Trout come to the plate, you stop.
Sure.
Whatever you're doing, you're making sure you're going to get an opportunity to watch him play. I was fortunate enough to play with Bo Jackson. He was one of those guys where you just never know. You might see something you may never see again, and that's the thing you see when you got Mike Trout when he comes to the plate.
Off-speed pitch on Escobar in there. He takes it for a strike. He's had another very good day. 3 for 3, 2 doubles, 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored. And that's outside. I guess that's kind of the it factor, Mark. Trout has it. Some other people in other lines of work have it. But it generally coincides with a lot of success.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When as a fan, have that opportunity to see something, to be able to tell somebody that are not at the game or didn't watch it on TV or listen on the radio that, hey, I was there when Trout climbed over the wall halfway. Half of his body was over the wall to make that play in center field at the Big A last year. If you're at that game or saw that game, that's one of the best plays you may ever see.
Right.
When it comes to Mike Trout, usually the question I'm asked by even casual fans of the game is, what kind of guy is he? And we know what kind of guy he is. He has been tremendous from day one wearing an Angel uniform, and he kind of learned the ropes from Torrey Hunter. Pitch that's lined into right field. That's going to drop in, and Escobar, the last 2 days here, has gone 7 for 7.
We wonder at some point that Mike Scioscia doesn't throw out a pinch runner or somebody to take over and say, okay, that's enough hits for you for this day. We got to start saving some for the regular season, because he's done everything well with the bat, using the entire field.
7 for 7. Those are Rennie Stennett type numbers in one game. Remember that back for the Pirates? My goodness, that's impressive.
So Ortega stepping up. He's had 1 at bat. He tripled in a run and scored a run. And he chops this one to second base. This could be 2. Flip the second, relay to first, and that's going to be a double play, and that will end the inning. So Angels are retired here in the bottom of the 5th. We head on to the 6th in Tempe. It's 10-5 Angels on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West.
Cousins.
Here in inning number 6, Greg Molly, SoCal native, will take over. He will replace Houston Street. Street had a scoreless 5th inning, giving up a couple of hits and picking up 1 strikeout. So Molly becomes pitcher number 4 of the day for the Angels, and his action so far here in the Cactus League, this will be his 7th appearance. In 6 innings, he's allowed 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, and he's had a victory in relief. We've seen him fool a few hitters this spring. He will kind of change the arm angle during a matchup against a hitter. Kind of never know what to expect from him, a left-hander.
In that arm angle, he throws his fastball and breaking ball.
First delivery, and that's a fastball that misses inside on VR.
That's pretty good velocity right there, Gooby. And now, you know, Molly, Jose Alvarez, a couple of options there as far as the lefty specialist out of the bullpen, right?
And there's no doubt at some point Molly is going to be an option for Mike Scioscia, whether it's this year in the beginning or sometime in the future. He's got good stuff, a great situational type lefty to come out of your bullpen.
All likelihood he'll probably start the year at AAA Salt Lake. He's yet to pitch in AAA, but his numbers were good last year. He closed in the Angels system. He's had a good spring. Here's the 2-0. Chopped on the third base side, and is it a fair ball? Looks like it is, and throw to first is in time. Straddling the line over there was Escobar, who makes the play on VR. 1 gone.
Terry, just go back to tie a bow on your story about Mike Trout there at the end of that half inning. As soon as they get done throwing the baseball around after the inning, the warm-ups, Mike Trout throws a baseball or so out into the outfield. He interacts with the fans, signs tons of autographs. Cal Ripken comes to mind for me how well he interacted with the fans, and that's how you become a star, because you interact with the fans who come to the game to watch you play. We know what you could do numbers-wise, but it's what you are as a person, and that's the thing that separates Mike Trout from a lot of other good players. Trout is an exceptional player who's an exceptional person.
Here's the next pitch. That is a liner fair, just snuck inside the foul line down the left side. It's going to roll down in the corner as Ortega will retrieve it. And at second base with a pinch hit double is Will Middlebrooks. So his first time up, didn't waste any time at all there batting for Lucroy. And now Aaron Hill will be the next batter. Let's pause for stations to identify themselves here on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Terry Smith along with Mark Gubasa on Roger Lodge from the Sports Lodge on Angels Radio AM 830, joining us here today in Tempe, and Aaron Hill takes that one for a strike.
Boy, Middlebrooks, former Padre, of course, had some good numbers with the Red Sox. Well, you thought when he came up with Boston he was going to be a serious star at the major league level, and it's kind of some injuries and inconsistencies have slowed down his career. He's still a young enough player to put up some numbers, but that certainly was a pretty good swing for him there, right down the left field line for a double.
It's amazing, Gooby. I think I've asked over 1,000 big leaguers, what's tougher, getting to the big leagues or staying in the big leagues? I think every single one has answered staying in the big leagues.
There's a ground ball. It's hit to third. Throw by Escobar to first in time, and then after that throw, Middlebrooks alertly hustles from second to third base. He waited for Escobar to commit himself, so that'll be a 5-3 ground out, and now a runner at third with 2 outs.
And a lot of times you're sitting at home, well, why is that such a big deal? Reason why now he's at third base, he can score on a wild pitch in the dirt. So good base running by Middlebrooks. And getting back to your point, Roger, what it comes down to, yes, the thrill of making the major leagues is so big, but it's that work you have to put in, both physically and mentally, to stay and be successful at the major league level.
I was talking to Cole Calhoun about that exact same thing this morning, and Cole won the Gold Glove last year, thrilled to get his first one, and now it's no longer, I'm coming to spring hoping to make the team. I'm going to be on the team. Now let's take it to the next level. Let's win a championship. Let's get this team back to winning AOS titles. And that's what, a lot of these guys in this clubhouse, talking to him this morning about chemistry. It's a good group down here. And like Terry was mentioning, I think Billy Epler has a lot to do with that.
Pinch hitters at the plate. This is Keon Broxton. And the count is 2-1 on Broxton. He was acquired from the Pirates during the offseason and had only a couple of at-bats with Pittsburgh last year. He's an outfielder, and the pitch takes that one outside. 2-1. He's batting for Flores, and figures to take over for him in the outfield. Flores was playing center for them. Here's the next pitch from Molly, and that is ball 4. It's a 5-pitch walk. So runners at the corners. Chris Carter will get another at bat. He's gone 0 for 3.
And Gooby, no secret, those Oakland A's teams of the 70s when they won World Series in 72, 73, and 74, and not exactly in harmony in that Oakland clubhouse. But I mean, in today's major league landscape, does a good clubhouse chemistry translate to wins on the field?
There's no question about it. I mean, obviously when you win, the chemistry in a clubhouse is a lot better than when a team is losing. When everyone's on the same page, from the players on through the coaching staff and the front office, when everyone's in harmony, chances are you're more relaxed. And if you're relaxed, whether you're swinging the bat, playing the field, or throwing the baseball on the mound, you have a better chance of being successful.
After Molly missed with the first pitch on Carter, the catcher Carlos Perez went out to talk to him. Molly appeared a little bit upset with himself after missing on that first pitch. He's trying to get out of a little bit of trouble here with 2 outs, runners at the corners. Next pitch, right in there for a called strike.
Hasn't been able to face a left-handed batter here. A lot of right-handed batters going against him. Molly
attended Westminster High School and UC Santa Barbara. Here's one that's popped up left side of the infield. Let's see who's going to call for it. Under waiting and making a grab on the dirt is Pennington, the shortstop, and the inning is over. So the Brewers threaten but fail to score. Bottom of the 6th coming up. 10-5 Angels on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. We have wholesale changes here for the Brewers as we get ready to move to the bottom of the 6th. The Angels have a 10-5 lead. The Angels got 8 of those 10 runs in the bottom of the 3rd inning. And all of the runs the Angels scored so far today have come against Willie Peralta, who was knocked out in that 3rd inning. Lots of changes here for Milwaukee. They have a new pitcher. Jeremy Jeffers is out there on the mound. A new catcher, Manny Pena. And really every position they've changed now. We'll update the rest of the moves in just a moment. At the plate for the Angels is G-Man Choi, and he is batting for Mike Trout. Choi has been a pleasant surprise in camp. Trout, who leaves, Mike was 0 for 3 today. And the next delivery, it's hit well in the left center field. Chasing after it is the center fielder, and sliding and making the catch out there is Keon Broxton, who has taken over at that position for Milwaukee. It's the first out.
G-Man Choi again squaring up a baseball. Broxton able to track that one down. Not only had to go a long way, but also had to battle the sun. Is he able to get that angle to be able to catch it just before it hits the outfield grass? But Choi, another good swing, getting high fives as he walked back in that dugout.
Yeah, good solid contact there, Gooby. As a Rule 5 guy, what do you think? He makes the squad?
He's got a shot. We've been saying that a lot today about a number of players, but it's good to see that there's so much competition with some quality players, though.
At the plate is Soto, and he pops one up foul back behind the plate. That's going to get back to the seats and out of play. Around the infield for Milwaukee, the new first baseman is Garrett Cooper. New second baseman is Hernan Perez. Colin Walsh is playing third base, and the new shortstop is Jake Elmore. In left field, Kirk Neuenhuis. We saw him a little bit last year with the Angels. Center fielder is Keon Broxton. Right fielder Reimer Liriano. Here's the next delivery. Cut and a miss by Soto. He's in the hole 0-2. And mentioned Jeremy Jeffers is the pitcher now for Milwaukee. Their fourth of the day.
Yeah, Soto caught Tyler Skaggs' simulated game earlier today.
Here's the next pitch on him. He lifts it foul on the first base side, and that's going to push back to the seats and out of play.
I think this is going to turn out to be just the perfect scenario. And the perfect scenario, what I mean by that is Mike Scioscia and his staff, these guys are going to have some tough decisions to make at the end of camp here. And that's exactly what they were hoping for, right, Gooby?
No doubt about it. I mean, even the 24th and 25th men on this roster this year, it's going to be tough competition to decide. Even beyond that, it seems to be as far as the options they have. And a lot of it really comes down to, I still think, even though we talked about it, Terry and I also, about because of the few days off early on, you could afford maybe not to have an extra pitcher. But the health of the starting staff is going to be really big for Mike Scioscia and the organization. Billy Upper getting together to determine the extra players.
1-2 the count on Soto. Here's the next pitch, and that one is inside. Well, earlier in today's game, if you were with us back in the bottom of the second inning, you know that Daniel Nava was hit on the helmet by a pitch from Willie Peralta, and he was evaluated by team doctors, and no signs of a concussion. Has a small contusion on the side of his head, we're told. 2-2. That's inside. So full count, 3-2.
Gooby, even a guy like Gregorio Petit the other day with 2 home runs in the ballgame for the Halos, and he's looked good this spring.
He's in that conversation, there's no question. His throwing arm from a number of infield positions is outstanding also. He's done a nice job no matter where Mike Scioscia's put him, and he swung the bat extremely well also. His first home run he hit of those 2 home runs was mammoth.
Yeah. Here's a pitch that Soto tried to hold up on, went around, struck him out. So that's out number 2 here in the 6th. And Marte will bat for Cole Calhoun. This will be his first time up. Cole Calhoun was 1 for 3 today with a double, and he also scored a run.
All right, Gooby, make it official. How's your bracket looking? That's what the people want to know, Gooby.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
Michigan State bracket buster yesterday. My goodness.
Terry and I, being Philly guys, we feel pretty good about the fact there's 2 teams still around.
Got St. Joe still hanging around?
Yes, Villanova. Temple loss in overtime. Buzzer beater. Yes. My daughter just got accepted into Kansas University, so she's pretty excited about that.
Rock Chalk Jayhawk.
Yes, indeed.
There you go.
There's the pitch on Marte. Looked to hold up on that one. Check the swing. Count even on him. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Our good buddy Kevin Harlan, wasn't he a Kansas guy? Kansas Jayhawks,
yes.
right? Yeah,
yes.
How about that?
So was Will Chamberlain, though, but that's a few years ago.
You bring the Dipper into it,
yes.
You're going into a whole different conversation. Legendary right there.
Next delivery just missed outside, not by much.
The days were the Danny Manning day when I actually watched that championship game at the Kemper Arena when they beat Oklahoma, heavy favorites to win the national championship. KU.
Was that the Wayman Tisdale-led Oklahoma Sooners that year?
They were really good, too.
Garrett Richards, big Oklahoma guy, obviously.
Yeah,
big Oklahoma City Thunder fan.
Yes.
Here's one that's fouled off on the right side. It's going to get back and out of play.
Andrew Heaney and Garrett Richards worked out quite a bit back in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma State for Andrew Heaney, Heen Dog. I got him in the Angel rotation, right? Is that a lock?
That's not even a.
Okay.
That's automatic.
All right, good.
2 outs, no one on. Angels batting bottom of the 6th, leading 10-5 against the Brewers, and the 2-strike delivery, a check swing. That one is tipped foul.
Marte was one of the guys getting some at bats down in that earlier game against Tyler Skaggs. So he's ready to go in this game. Tyler, we mentioned earlier, threw the ball extremely well. I know Jeannie Zalasko had a chance to talk to him just a little bit ago, and we'll be hearing that conversation about how well he threw and felt after the game on Angels Live, so that'll be good.
There's the 2-2, and that is low and outside, so it's a full count. Angels up by 5, 10-5 here in the 6th. Score update brought to you by Experian. Get serious about your credit by visiting Experian.com.
Gooby, how many starts did it take you to be ready in spring?
You know, the first couple you felt great, you're energized, but then by that dead arm period, by the last 2 or 3, that's when you knew you were ready to go when you stretch out 6, 7 innings.
And that's going to end the inning right there as Marte will go down, and a good inning for the Brewers right-handed reliever. Angels go down quietly in the 6th. We're headed to the 7th as we go there. It's 10-5 Angels on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Seventh inning we go. It's still 10-5 Angels, and fans, don't forget, become a season seat holder. Enjoy exclusive benefits and the same seats all season long at the greatest value. Visit angels.com/season seats for more information. So a lot of changes for the Angels. New battery. Lucas Litke will be the fifth pitcher of the day for the Angels. His battery mate is Jet Bandy. G-Man Choi is the new first baseman. Gregorio Petit now at second. Roberto Baldacchini at shortstop. Jeffrey Marte stays in the game at third. Here's a ground ball hit on the left side, and it's out of the reach of Baldacchini. And that one is going to go into left center for a base hit. Liriano batting there, getting that single his first time up. So here's the next batter, and it looks like the catcher Manny Pina will be stepping up. He's batting out of Maldonado's spot. He was their starting catcher.
It's amazing, guys. You sit here in a spring training game in the top of the seventh inning. Meanwhile, out on the field, you got guys battling for jobs. Their livelihood at stake here. They're going to make it on a big league roster to start the year. There's a lot on the line out here right now.
I always, I think it's great. I mean, because I remember my first camp I was at, and, I had one of those high numbers, too, knowing there was no real chance necessarily to make the team. But just to get an opportunity to face big league hitters. I mean, my first time I faced the White Sox, Ron LaFleur, Carlton Fisk, Greg Lazinski, those three batters I faced. And, it was an unbelievable thrill. So these guys, it's a great thrill for them.
Here's a bouncer hit on the left side. Nice stop by Baldacchini. Second for one. Relay a little bit late, trying to double up Pina, but a good play by Baldacchini to get the lead runner Liriano on the fielder's choice. One gone.
And I remember it. A few years later, Greg Lazinski, who ended up being one of our coaches in Kansas City, and he was one of my favorite players as a Philly. Here, I was telling this story. When he came to the plate, I was 20, 21 years old. I literally could not breathe because here I am playing stickball saying I'm Greg Lazinski, and now I'm facing Greg Lazinski.
Did you call him the Bull to his face? Did you Mr. Bull? What'd you call him?
Yeah, I said, hey, I got you out too. He goes, dude, I didn't even know what you were throwing. And I had the feeling you were pretty wild, and I didn't want to get hit. So I was just happy to just get out of here. I knew I wasn't going to face you at any point that season, so I was just glad not to get hurt.
So it's Ron LaFleur, Carlton Fisk, and the Bull, Greg Lazinski.
Yes.
Okay, the big question is what everyone wants to know. Were the White Sox wearing the shorts back then? Was it a Sunday game?
No, it was there in back in the days down in I think we were playing them up in Sarasota, because we were at that point we were down in Fort Myers when we were in Kansas City. But it was, I'll tell you what, it was so much fun, and for all these guys to get an opportunity to play, even though sometimes it's late in the games, just the thrill, because most times they're not playing in front of a packed house like we are here at the ballpark here at Tempe Diablo Stadium. It's a great thrill for these guys, and even though it's difficult for us to write down all these names and different numbers and who's coming to the plate, for them as players, what a thrill it is for them.
Neuenhuis, who's batting, just fouled a pitch off and also cracked his bat, so he's back at the plate with a new stick of lumber as he digs in with the count. 1-1 strike. Lefty-lefty matchup. Litke's pitch. That's a called strike.
It was a good idea back in the 70s, shorts on Sunday games for the White Sox. I don't know what was worse, that or disco demolition night back in the day for the White Sox.
It's always good, too, because a lot of teams had AstroTurf at that point, too, so that was quite comfortable for them. That real good AstroTurf, just peel your skin off.
What a great idea in the Sports Lodge. The worst ideas in baseball history. That would be right up there with orange baseballs, Charlie O'Finley, anybody? That was pretty bad.
1 ball, 2 strikes here on Neuenhuis. They have Hernan Perez waiting on deck. 7th inning. Angels up 10-5. And the next pitch, and Neuenhuis was fooled. Took a half swing, tried to hold up, struck him out. That's the second out.
Nice breaking ball by Litke there. A nice job, and the key for breaking balls, especially in this point of camp where it's a field pitch for, is keeping that front shoulder locked in, and he did an excellent job of doing so. And a very good sharp slider by Litke gets a swing and miss.
Let me ask you guys a quick question. Do you guys miss the bullpen cart as much as I do? Remember the bullpen cart that used to bring the relief pitcher in? Come on.
You're dating yourself now, Roger.
Come on, there was nothing better than that. Look out.
There's a smash by the mound, and it's going to skip through into center field. Litke kind of jumped away from that one, and understandable. That ball's hit hard right up the middle. So Perez has his first hit. They have runners at first and second with 2 outs here in the 7th.
Gooby, did the bullpen cart ever bring you into a game?
No, but Milwaukee at the old stadium, they were one of the last ones to use one of those little. They had like one of those little sidecars where they drove people in on that one. That was pretty cool. That was a long ways away at Milwaukee County Stadium. That was a long way in for the bullpen. And you know, if I would have been down in the bullpen, I probably would have went in on the cart. Just so people can scream even more bad things about me.
Here's Elmore at the plate. First time up. Takes that one for ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes.
Guys, it's so great to be in the booth with you today. And again, thank you for having me. But I got to tell you, to look next door before this game and see Bob Uecker in the Milwaukee Brewer broadcast booth, that was pretty cool.
Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Mr. Belvedere.
Yep.
Uecker is now 81 years old, and this is his 45th year announcing Brewers baseball.
God bless him.
Yep.
Oh, he is so funny.
Oh.
Literally, you can only talk for a few seconds. You gotta get out because your rib cage is already hurting you.
2 balls and no strikes to count here on Elmore, and the next pitch, that is a ball.
Before the game, I walked up to him. I said, Mr. Uecker, my name is Roger Lodge. I'm your biggest fan. It's an honor to meet you. And he said, great, kid. Can I get some more iced tea? That's what I got from him. That was it.
He's perfect. In the booth with Jeff Levering, former co-worker with Fox Sports West, and came up, did games for the Angels in Avon, working with Bob Uecker.
Love it.
Great dude. Hard worker. He is right there. Same booth as the Hall of Famer.
There he is. One of the greatest guests in the history of The Tonight Show. There he is, folks. The great Bob
Jeffrey
Uecker.
Levering?
Yes.
3-1 pitch, and that is ball 4. So that's going to load him up. First walk allowed here by Litke. Middlebrooks will be stepping up. He doubled last inning, his first time up in this ball game. He's trying to win a spot on their opening day roster. So Litke is in some trouble here, but 2 outs. We'll see if he can find a way to get out of it. Here comes the pitch. That one is taken for a called strike. Middlebrooks last year with the Padres hit only .212, had 9 homers, 29 driven in. When he first broke in with the Red Sox, a lot of people were saying he was going to be another Scott Rowland, but it just didn't play out that way. Here he pops one up, foul, first base side. Choi going over by the Angels dugout has a play and makes the catch, and that will end the inning. So they loaded them up here in the 7th, and they fail to score. Bottom of the 7th is next. 7th inning stretch time here in Tempe. 10-5 Angels on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West.
It's race.
Nick Buss will lead it off for the Angels. Tyler Thornburg is the new pitcher for Milwaukee, and the first pitch of ball to count 1 ball, no strikes. 10-5 Angels as we begin the Angels half of the 7th. And here's the next pitch. Grounded sharply right to second base. Gobbled up by Perez, and Buss is retired. That's the first out. Next batter will be Gregorio Petit. He's hitting for the first time today, hitting out a Pennington spot. Pennington, another good day with the bat. 2 more hits, scored a run. He was 2 for 3.
One of the home runs Petit hit the other day, Gooby, an absolute mammoth blast.
Yeah, that one got out quickly in Goodyear. And then he followed up with a real high home run.
Yeah.
First pitch of ball on Petit. And here's the next pitch. He swings at this one and hits it well into center field. Broxton is going back, still back, and that falls over his head. Petit will hit the second base, and he is there with a stand-up double to center. So he wastes little time. His first time up, scoring position.
Continues to open the eyes for Billy Apter. Mike Scioscia with his at bat. That's a pretty good pitch. That was down. Tries that out with his center field. One hop in the wall. Another extra base hit for Petit.
Another one of those guys going to make it a difficult decision for Mike Scioscia and his staff. Gooby, real quick. Farthest baseball you've ever seen hit in person. By who? Where was it?
I tell you, it was extremely close. Both happened in Kansas City between Mike Trout a couple years ago and Bo Jackson. Very similar area where Trout hit his. At that point where Bo hit his home run, very close area. There was no waterfall in that left center field. It was more just some grass up there. It went way up there, but Mike Trout went very, very close to the same exact area. And I didn't think anybody would ever hit a ball anywhere near where Bo Jackson hit his, but Mike Trout was right there in Kansas City, so both of them there. And that's a big ballpark to begin with, just to get it over the fence, period.
Quentin Berry is the batter for the Angels. His first time up today. Counts 1-1 on him. And the next pitch. That one is taken for ball 2. 2-1. Jet Bandy's waiting on deck. He's yet to bat in the game. We'll check out the Dodge Out of Town scoreboard on this Saturday in just a moment. It's brought to you by the Dodge Challenger. Here's the next pitch, and that is low. It's now 3-1. Don't forget, with an estimated 30 miles per gallon highway, the Dodge Challenger was made for driving. Visit Dodge.com. Texas split squad over the Royals split squad 13-6. Salvador Perez hit his second home run. Hosmer and Kane had homers for the Royals as well. Chirinos hit one for Texas. And there's ball 4 on Berry, so he walks on 5 pitches, and Bandy will be the next batter. Oakland split squad trailing Cincinnati 6-4. Valencia, another home run for Oakland. He's had 4, Danny Valencia, this spring. Dodgers and White Sox in the 9th. Chicago leading that one 4-2. Other Oakland split squad up 7-1 against the Giants in the 7th. Billy Butler, a home run for Oakland. Seattle and Kansas City having split squad teams face each other. They're in the 9th, 5-4 Royals. Arizona split squad shutting out the Texas split squad 7-0 in the 7th, and Colorado leads the Padres 5-4. They're in the top of the 8th. Here's the next pitch, and Bandy with a ground ball base hit into left field. Going into third, being waved around is Petit. Throw to the plate. He'll score. And the Angels add on here against Thornburg, and now lead it 11-5. Gotta like when those reserve players start coming in, and they are contributing.
Yeah, Bandy has really swung the bat well. He's got good power, quick, going on that 0-0 pitch. Good base running once again. Ron Renicky, third base coach, back with the Angels. Very aggressive. Sending Buss home on that. Petit on that one.
So here is Baldacchini. He digs in with runners at first and second. And the first delivery That one is ball one. It's low. 1 ball, no strikes.
And how about Bandy, fellas? I mean, hasn't had a whole lot of at-bats this spring, but making the most of them. 8 for 18 now here during the spring. Pretty impressive.
He's done a nice job.
There's a pitch outside. Had a very good year last year. His stock has gone up in the Angels system. Of course, the Angels have another young catcher, Tyler Ward. We saw him yesterday. He was impressive, threw out a couple of base runners. First-round pick a year ago.
Yeah, tremendous release.
Yeah, he's got a
transfer.
That was impressive yesterday.
2 balls and no strikes on Baldacchini. He's had 10 at-bats this spring, 3 hits for the Angels. He's back in minor league camp. Angels have him on the roster for today's game, and the pitch that's fouled off right side out of play.
And Terry, you've seen him a couple times already this spring. He looks a lot more comfortable this spring than what we saw last year.
He does. Yep. Been in the U.S. now a little bit longer. Everything was brand new for him last year. He had some injury issues last year in A-ball at Inland Empire. Two and 1 the count on Baldacchini. And that one is fouled off on the right side, backing out of play. Thornburg, who is pitching for Milwaukee, was in 24 games for them last year, all in relief. Did a pretty good job. Has a good arm, fastball, top out around 97. Curveball and a very good changeup. Time called. Baldacchini back out of the batter's box. Ortega waiting on deck. And the pitch. And that one is low. It's a full count.
Boy, Thornburg is right over the top as far as his delivery. You would think his changeup would be a very effective pitch, especially right over the top at mid to upper 90s, and followed that arm angle he throws that with a changeup. You think you get a lot of hitters out in front.
Here's the next delivery, and that's a shot out of the reach of the shortstop Elmore. That's going to drive in a run. It's a hit for Baldacchini, who's going to hustle up to second. Here's the throw, and it's late. So he has a hustle double. Angels now up 12-5. Runners at second and third. Bandy is the lead runner at third base.
And one thing we've heard from fans, either at the games or even have watched games and listen on the radio, how exciting this team has been to watch so far this year because they've been aggressive, trying to go those extra bases. Here it looks like would be single. He falls down, Broxton in center field, but still Baldacchini out of the batter's box is thinking double. Slides in the head first for a double. We've seen so often taking that extra base this spring for the Angels. A lot more exciting to watch.
So the Brewers bring the infield in, and the first pitch on Ortega, a little bloop into left. That's going to drive in 2 more runs. Ortega headed for second. He'll dive in safely. Ball gets away. He gets up. He'll head on to third base on that one. And then the ball is kind of kicked around a little bit down the right field side. So that's going to be a double, 2 RBIs for Ortega. Now it's 14-5 Angels.
Ortega now with a double and a triple.
Put the bat on the ball and good things will happen, Gooby.
Yep.
This is absolutely, now you see why manager Mike Scioscia and GM Billy Epler, what they're so excited about.
Boy, Dave Hansen and Paul Sorrento have done a nice job of just talking with these hitters each and every day as far as what they want from their approaches at the plate.
And now on the delivery, it gets away from the catcher, and breaking for the plate and coming in and scoring from third is Ortega. A wild pitch makes it 15-5 Angels. So 15-5 the score. Angels were down at one time in this game 5-1.
They've really swung the bat well, and getting back to that whole analogy from Dave Hansen about the approach at the plate. They've been aggressive a lot of times, even in this game and a lot of games of late.
Here's the pitch. This one is ripped back to the mound off the bat of Choi, and the ball caught there by Thornburg, and that'll be out number 2.
Yeah, they've been jumping on that first pitch fastball. They've been utilizing, as you can see on that swing, the middle part of the field. Better opportunity to get hits, going the other way, not trying to pull the baseball. And that's why you're seeing a lot of good swings, not only from the the starting 9, but the guys that even come in after them with really good quality swings.
And a lot of the guys like Choi, I mean, 2 at-bats today, but he's put good bat on the baseball. Those are 2 quality at-bats. He's hit the ball twice hard today, but nothing to show for it, but good positive at-bats.
Yeah, Dave Hansen, I'm telling you, has really done a nice job as far as, and I asked him about some of the younger guys or the newer players. He said, I'm letting them come to me and ask questions first. I'm writing down notes, but it's my job as a hitting coach just to get to know the players first and see what they need to be told to be able to get their swing right.
Soto batting now. Count on him. Ball and 2 strikes. He's been up once today since taking over for Albert Pujols. Albert had 2 home runs in the same inning today, the bottom of the 3rd. There's one grounded sharply but foul on the left side.
I've always liked Giovanni Soto, Gooby. I loved him in Texas. Great behind the plate, great working with pitchers. And not too shabby at the plate as well.
Former Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
With the Chicago Cubs. He has power. You make a mistake, he'll hit it out of the ballpark. Frames the pitches very well. Throwing out some would-be base stealers in camp here also.
How underrated is that, the ability to frame pitchers? Frame pitches, well, excuse me.
As you can see right now, a lot of catchers are continue to stay in the game of baseball. That's a big thing you're seeing from general managers and people evaluating the game, especially when you talk about analytics. Catchers being able to frame and getting some of the pitches that would be out of the strike zone called a strike because your ability to be quiet, frame it, keep it close enough to the strike zone to be called a strike.
Here's the 2-2 on Soto. That one misses. So it's a 3-2 count. Here's the payoff, and that's high. Boy, this has been a tough inning for Thornburg. Marte is going to be the next batter, and looks like the day is going to come to an end here for Tyler Thornburg. So they will go to the bullpen. We'll have a new pitcher coming in for Milwaukee. Break in the action here in the bottom of the 7th. Angels up by 10, 15-5. We'll take a timeout. Be back with more Angels baseball in a moment on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. New pitcher for Milwaukee is Mitch Lamson. And he is their 6th pitcher of the day. Jeffrey Marte will be the batter to face him with 2 outs. Angels have had a couple of real big innings today, an 8-run 3rd and now a 5-run 7th. Lamson's pitch. That's inside on Marte for ball 1. Lamson has appeared in 2 games, working an inning and 2/3. He's yet to allow a hit or run. 15 runs, 16 hits for the Angels. And the next pitch, that one is fouled off over on the left side. 15 runs for the Angels, the most the Angels have scored in a game this spring. It's like the 3rd time this spring Angels have been in double figures in runs scored. Before today, 13 was the most. That was that 13 tie against the Dodgers a week and a half ago right here. There's a fly ball lifted down the right side. It's going to push back to the seats out of play. So 1-2 on Marte.
Another one of his games, double figures and hits again. You said that a lot this spring training, Terry, of late. Last 10 games or so.
Yeah, the Angels are hitting over 300 as a team this spring. Here's the pitch, and that's a cut and a miss. Marte goes after that one, struck him out, and that's how the inning will end. But a good inning for the Angels at 5 spot here in the 7th. 8th inning is coming up, 15-5 Angels on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Angels bring in a new pitcher, number 6 of the day. A.J. Ochter will take over for Lucas Litke. Litke pitched out of jam in the 7th inning. So we go to the 8th. It's a 10-run Angels lead, 15-5. And the first pitch on Colin Walsh, who's batting for the first time. He takes that one for ball 1. It's 1 ball, no strikes. Ochter's next pitch, and that's cut on and missed. 1 ball, 1 strike to count. A.J. Ochter has appeared now in 7 games for the Angels. Has a save, a 1.29 ERA, 7 innings, allowing 4 hits. Hasn't walked any, struck out 8. And the next delivery from the big right-hander, that's right in there for a called strike.
Well, he works extremely fast. Has a power sinker. You can hear the mitt. And that it's like a heavy, you hear that terminology, heavy baseball. He definitely has that heavy baseball. Breaks some bats. Gets a lot of ground ball action.
He retired all 6 batters he faced in his last outing, Gooby. And how important is it to your fielders when you work as quickly as Octor does.
Always on their toes. They're going to make those very difficult plays because they're ready. They're able to get that prep step, be in position to either move forward or right or left because they're ready to go because you're not wasting time on the mound.
Octor last season appeared in 11 games for the Twins, most of last year in the minors, and the 3-2 delivery hit well into right field. Ortega has a beat on it, though, and he's under. He'll make the catch. That's the first out.
The ERA, of course, a little high last year with Minnesota at 6.75. But what do you like about him, Gooby, other than the power sinker?
Well, his ability to get the ground balls. When a lot of times you're going to give up your hits if you're a sinker ball type pitcher because a lot of times those ground balls find a hole. But you're not going to give up many long balls, and that's the thing. It allows your defense to make a play behind you. So if you give up a single, and next batter can hit a ground ball at one of your infielders, you get 2 outs with it. But if you're constantly up in the strike zone, a walking guy, that's when you're going to give up the runs. When you come out of the bullpen, you have to be aggressive and you have to work quickly, and that's what he does very well. At least what we've seen so far in spring training.
Roxton is the batter. First pitch on him was a strike, and the next one a cut and a miss. Fans, don't forget, host a business function or celebrate a special occasion in your own private suite at the Big A. Suite rentals offer all-inclusive food and beverage packages. Visit angels.com/suites. There's the next pitch from Octor, and that's low. The Angels got him off the waiver wire in December from Minnesota. Actually from the Phillies. He was claimed by the Phillies from the Twins in the offseason, and the Angels saw the Phillies put him on the waiver wire as well, and then the Angels picked him up, and he's looked good this spring. Big guy, he goes about 6'5", and a former 46th round draft pick of Minnesota.
That's the beauty of baseball. You could be a high draft pick like that and still end up being a quality player at the major league level.
2-2, and that one framed by the catcher Bandy, but it goes against Octor, so it's a full count.
It's a pretty good pitch right there, Gooby.
I want that pitch if I'm throwing it. And Alfonso Marquez behind the plate, generally known as a guy that likes to call strikes.
There's plenty of fastball here by Octor, right?
No question.
There's the next delivery, and he just missed inside with that payoff pitch, so it's a 1-out walk. Angels have walked a few today. It looks like the 8th walk issue, but it hasn't come to haunt the Angels here, up by 10 runs in the 8th inning.
By the way, would that be Dino Ebel's son working his bat boy today down there on the field?
The other here.
I believe so.
Yeah, great energy.
Great kids.
Oh, best.
Dino has a birthday coming up tomorrow.
Happy birthday, Dino Ebel, one of the true good guys in baseball.
Here's the pitch, and that is a strike on the outside corner. Angels will be back in action tomorrow against the Texas Rangers. That game will be on Fox Sports West. No radio broadcast tomorrow. Here's a fly ball lifted into right field. Circling under is Ortega, and he will make the grab on that for the second out.
Boy, guys, anytime now you talk about a coach, a manager having his players around, the Adam LaRoche story. Boy, in the Sports Lodge last week, that's all everybody was talking about. The Adam LaRoche retiring from the game because the White Sox asked him to stop bringing his kid around. Everyone's talking about it, and it's one of those right down the middle stories. It's unbelievable. 50-50 on both sides.
Certainly a distraction for a club that a lot of people are really excited about with the Chicago White Sox.
Yeah.
They made some key moves during the offseason, and there's some serious buzz about them as far as contending in that AL Central, a very deep AL Central division.
1 ball, no strikes is the count on Liriano. The last batter who flied out was Garrett Cooper. That was his first time up. Liriano has been up once. He's had a hit as only at bat. 2 outs. Runner on at first base. And that's a called strike on the outside corner. Liriano was with the Padres at one time. And now trying to hook on here with Milwaukee. 38 games last year for San Diego for Reimer Liriano. He hit just .220. Next pitch. That one taken outside for a ball. Liriano at one time was a very highly thought of prospect in the San Diego system, but he just has not had a whole lot of success at the big league level. 2-1 delivery, and that's low. Delayed steal, throw down to second. Waiting with the tag is Petit, and Bandy guns down Broxton. So that's how the top of the 8th will come to an end on the caught stealing. That's it for Milwaukee here in the 8th. We're headed to the bottom of the inning. 15-5 Angels on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. Bottom of the 8th, Angels up 15-5, and Tyler Cravey will be the new pitcher for Milwaukee. Their 7th of the day. He replaces Lamson, who got the final out last inning, and the first batter up for the Angels will be Nick Buss. He's been up once with a ground out. Bottom of the 8th being brought to you by our friends at Rotolo Chevrolet in Fontana. Rotolo Chevrolet, pursuing excellence every day. You can visit them at Rotolo.com. That's Rotolo.com.
Boy, you didn't want to go near Nick Buss's locker after that devastating loss for USC in the NCAA tournament. He's still trying to get over that. You see that game, Gooby? SC loses on the final possession. Providence got a layup on an out-of-bounds play to win the game. Unbelievable.
This tournament so far has been unbelievable. Wacky. Yesterday was insane.
It's a pitch in there. It's 1 ball, 1 strike.
Middle Tennessee State beats Michigan State. What do we know about Middle Tennessee State other than the great Truck Robinson of the old New Orleans Jazz went there? I mean, it's nuts. What a tournament.
There's one that's fouled back behind the plate. That's why it's March Madness, guys.
The half-court shot yesterday, the winner, was unbelievable.
We're over here trying to figure it out, and there he is, the voice of reason, Terry Smith.
That's why he is the amazing, remarkable Terry Smith.
Childhood friend of one Mark Gubicki.
Oh, yes.
All the stories.
Here's the next delivery, and there's one lifted in the air to left field. Nieuwenhuis is circling under, and he'll put that one away. So Buss is set down. Second time he's been retired today. And it looks like we're going to have a pinch hitter for the Angels. Petit was scheduled to bat, and number 21, Eric Salcido from minor league camp, will get a chance to step up to the plate.
And here you go, Gooby. What a thrill for this kid to be in the batter's box of a spring training baseball game right now.
Yeah, that heart is racing extremely fast right now.
Kind of like the first time you met Terry Smith when you were a youngster, huh?
The brilliant one, yes.
Now, who was it? Terry was coming over to your place to play with your brother, or you were going over to Terry's house to play with his brother? What was the deal?
They were best friends, high school.
Coming to go to their house.
Oh, okay, okay. To play with Gooby's older brother?
With his older brother.
Okay.
Yes, they went to school together.
Yep, went to high school together. 1 ball, 1 strike, the count. His brother would come up to my house a lot. There's a fly ball lifted into center by Salcedo. Easy play for the Brewers center fielder, Broxton, and that's the second out.
What was the go-to activity? A young Terry Smith hanging out with an older Gooba's kid there. What was the go-to activity? A little Nerf ball, basketball? What were you guys doing?
Wiffle ball.
Wiffle ball, sure.
Yep.
Basketball out on the driveway. We had the basketball.
And we also, I don't know if kids still do it anymore, but we used to pitch baseball cards.
Oh,
yes.
sure.
Flipsy.
Yeah.
Flipsy.
There you go. Nowadays, everybody wants to keep them as pristine as possible. Yes. There's one that's cut on and missed.
Yeah, you don't want those corners bent on those baseball cards.
When you would pitch the baseball cards,
yes.
They would get banged up a lot, scratched up on the concrete. What we used to call Noxies and Topsies.
Yes, indeed.
Remember that?
Yes, indeed.
We're dating ourselves.
Yes.
Here's one grounded on the right side.
That's how you got those extra cards, by winning.
You guys can tweet that stuff out and find out if anybody still does that.
This is gold right now. At Roger Lodge 7. I'm tweeting out right now. Let's go. Let's do it.
There we go.
You guys, Terry, you're going to have your social media nights this season once a month, I'm hearing.
We are.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
First team in Major League Baseball to ever do that.
Love it.
Very proud of that.
Look how you guys are tying it all together.
Can't teach what we do, Gooby.
No.
It's unbelievable.
There's Eric Aguilera at the plate, and he lifts one foul down the left side.
Can I promote something very quickly?
Sure.
Yes.
Halo Honk Night coming up in April. At Roger Lodge 7. Tweet at me if you're interested. Tweet right now.
What date is that?
Early April.
Early April.
Oh, and by the way, my episode of Grandfather will rerun on Fox coming up in a couple of weeks. There you go. All the plugs
You
are
and
in.
John Stamos?
Oh, they ran out of moose on the set.
Here's the 0-2, and that one is a little bit low for a ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Let's pause for station identification on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. On the 1-2 pitch, that's taken by Aguilera. He is out looking, and the Angels have a quiet bottom of the 8th. We're headed to the 9th inning. It's 15-5 Angels on the Angels Baseball Radio Network and Fox Sports West. So we move to the 9th inning. Angels will make another pitching change and use pitcher number 7 of the day. Austin Wood will take over. Octor had a scoreless top of the 8th. Wood is in to pitch here in the 9th. And the Angels have also kept Eric Salcido in the ball game. He's playing second. Eric Aguilar, who batted in the bottom of the 8th inning, is playing first. And G-Man Choi, who is playing first base, has moved out to left field. So that's what has happened as far as the change in defense. And now Wood will get ready to pitch, and this is going to be his first appearance this spring. Went to USC. Last season was at AA Arkansas. He's a guy who's always had a really good arm. He had Tommy John elbow surgery a few years ago. Fastball, slurve, and changeup. Right-hander's pitch. This is popped in the air. Liriano at the plate. Shallow right field. Coming in hard. Making the running catch is Rafael Ortega. So one pitch and one quick out.
Austin Wood was really popping the glove of Jet Bandy in between innings. You could hear it all around the ballpark, Terry. Plenty of fastball from Austin Wood. Another USC Trojan here on Angel Camp.
So Wood, who's been in the Angels system for a while, he was drafted back in 2011, 6th-rounder. He's had the injury issues in the past. Trying to get back on the radar screen. Pina is the batter, and the first pitch on him, that's right in there for a called strike. Manny Pina, who came in to take over behind the plate. Mark Guisaw is headed downstairs, and he will get set for our post-game interview. 0-1. That's lined into right. That's going to fall in for a base hit. Playing it back in will be Ortega. Pina has a 1-out single. Neuenhuis will be the next batter. And fans, don't forget today's game being brought to you by In-N-Out Burger. That's what a hamburger is all about. And we have a deal for you. Just $19.95 gets you Proactive plus a rotating deep cleansing brush. It's valued at $45. You're guaranteed to get clear and stay clear, or you'll get your money back. Call 1-800-644-5944. That's 1-800-644-5944. Here's the pitch from Wood, and that one taken ball 1. It's 1 ball, no strikes.
Boy, another great day for Angel baseball, Terry. 15 runs, 16 hits. Can't wait to hear Gooby, whether he's talking to Soch or maybe hitting coach Dave Hansen. But, man, they're going to have some big decisions to make at the end of this training camp, which is a great problem to have.
1 ball, 1 strike. Neuenhuis at the plate. Left-handed batter, and that one is low and inside on him. It misses. 2 balls and 1 strike. He's trying to make the Brewers squad as a reserve outfielder.
Left the Halos, went back to the Mets, right, at the end of last season.
He did, yeah. He's claimed off waivers by Milwaukee in December, off waivers from the Mets. Here's the next pitch. He chops this one on the right side, flipped to second in time, and then no relay. But the Angels do get the out at second base, so a fielder's choice, and now the Brewers are down to their final out in this ballgame. Salcido's flipped to Baldacchini. He did a good job to get his foot on the bag there at second. And Hernan Perez will be the next batter.
It was a nice athletic play by Baldacchini there. It's going to be awfully interesting to watch plays at second base this, Terry, with the the change in the rule out there this season.
Right. And the Angels having a little different look as far as the double play combination this year with Simmons and Johnny Giavotella. Here's the pitch, and that's high and outside. Simmons had the day off, and he was throwing across the diamond in drills today, and Mike Scioscia figures he'll be back at shortstop early in the week. Here's a ground ball fair just over the third base bag, and that's going to roll all the way down in the left field corner. So Perez will get an easy double on that one. And the Brewers are going to get a run on that one as well. Scoring all the way from first base on that double will be Nieuwenhuis.
That ball went down the left field line and smacked right into a cup of water down there from a relief pitcher. That thing came back into the infield like an old Gaylord Perry spitter. That was something down there in left field.
So it's now 15-6 in favor of the Angels. A couple hits and a run here in this ninth inning for Milwaukee. They're on borrowed time, though, with 2 outs here in the ninth. Jake Elmore is the batter. Wood taking some extra time. He's now set, ready to come in. And here's the pitch. That is a strike on the outside corner. Austin Wood last season, mostly a reliever at Double-A Arkansas. Appeared in 31 games, made 7 starts. Next delivery, it's lined down the right side, and that's just foul. That was close, but a foul ball. And Wood had the Tommy John elbow surgery. 2014 season, he pitched less than 25 innings, and the year before, when he had injured that elbow when he was in A-ball, he pitched 26 innings. So a couple seasons where very limited action due to the injury. Last year tested out that elbow, and the Angels are hopeful that he's going to be able to have a full season this coming year in the minors. There's one that's low and outside. He's always had a real good arm. 1-2 is the count on Elmore. Big lead off second for Perez. Angels not concerned about him with the big lead here, and jammed on that one was Elmore. He fouls that one back to the screen.
Jumping in on him right there. What a great job going inside. Not afraid. You get a lot of young guys that come up afraid to pitch inside. That's a great pitch right there.
So it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Wood is ready, trying to get the final out. And the pitch, that's lined into left. That's going to fall in for a hit. Going into third, being waved around is Perez. He will score. And the Brewers get their second run here in the ninth inning. So it's now a 15-7 ball game.
That elusive final out, Terry.
We've seen that a few ninth innings this spring, Roger. Yes, we have.
Angel bullpen is quiet. It's up to Austin Wood to get the final out.
So Shane Peterson will be the batter. And this is going to be his first time up. He was probably wondering on that bench if he was ever going to get in the game. Well, he does here in the ninth inning, and that pitch is in there on him for a called strike. That's from the left side. He's had only 3 hits 18 times up this spring for Milwaukee. Wood is ready. Next pitch, that's a fastball that misses. 1 ball, 1 strike to count on Peterson.
And man, for anyone that missed it, and they replay these games here on Fox Sports West, you got to watch the 3rd inning of today's game when Albert Pujols went deep twice in that 3rd inning. It was electric here.
There's Peterson fouling that one off on the left side out of play. Peterson's from Temecula. He went to Chaparral High School and also Long Beach State. And hit .259 for Milwaukee last season, 93 games.
What a program Long Beach State has become, Terry. A lot of big leaguers around the league from Long Beach State. Very impressive.
1-2. It didn't miss by much. Boy, that was a pretty good looking pitch.
Wow.
And fans a little bit restless after that one was not called a strike by Alfonso Marquez.
People want to get to the swimming pool. Where was that pitch, Terry?
Looked pretty good. Here's the next delivery with 2 strikes. That's fouled back behind the plate. So Wood continues to battle here against Peterson with 2 strikes on him. 2-2 the count. Austin Wood has a new baseball ready to come on in with it, and the pitch, and again fouled off.
Hanging tough.
He is. Home plate umpire getting some new baseballs. Fans in attendance for the Angels opening series against the Cubs, April 4th and 5th. Receive a wall calendar courtesy of U.S. Bank while supplies last. First pitch, 7:05 for those games. Every fan matters. Purchase your tickets at angels.com or call 714-4-ANGELS. Here's the next delivery, and it's grounded right to second. This should do it. Salcido's throw to first is in time, and that will retire Peterson and the Brewers here.